What's up, everyone, and welcome back to This Is the Show, our Mandalorian live after show. We're going to be talking about Chapter 18, The Mines of Mandalore today. Molly, how are you doing?
I'm a little frazzled, I'm always like last minute to our own show, but that's just how I like to live,
Like 5 last minutes, just
Yeah.
creeping on. It's
Yeah,
okay.
we are a little late.
It's
so I
okay.
apologize.
Well, yeah, today's been a fun day. It's been 2 great episodes of Star Wars today. Some really good comics came out as well, so a lot going on, but we're just going to focus on The Mandalorian today. And as usual, we're not going to do it alone. We have a guest with us, someone I'm so excited to have on. One of the weirdest things about doing this channel is connecting with people you never, ever expected to. And one day I noticed that the drummer of my favorite band of all time was following me on Twitter. And so now he's here. Now he's going to talk about Star Wars with us. So please welcome Tony Thaxton from Motion City Soundtrack. Hi, Tony.
Hey guys, that's big praise. I didn't know a favorite band of all time. Those are big words.
Yeah.
Well,
you've seen me sing karaoke. It's not on accident. It's very passionate.
It's a staple in our karaoke. And like this most recent time we did karaoke, like sometimes they don't have the songs that we want to sing in their like library, but they had an option to pull up YouTube, and we were like, okay, all right, here we go.
Yeah, well, he knows that because I texted it to him.
Yes. You were
was I singing too? I don't remember.
Well, I didn't text.
There
was no video. Yeah, he just told me about it. Yeah.
Oh.
So
I
have received video in the past.
Yeah. Someone did take video of us singing "Everything Is All Right." I do know that happened, but it's not on my phone. So
that's on my phone. I haven't even looked at it.
We can do that privately. But yeah, thrilled to have you here. We've been talking about doing this for a while now, and between you going on tour and stuff, we finally nailed down a time.
We finally made it happen. It took like 3 different TV shows to get here or something like that, but we did it. Here we are.
Well, this is an episode I am super psyched to talk about. But Tony, what's your relationship like with The Mandalorian, and how are you enjoying season 3 so far? We're only a quarter of the way through, but still.
Yeah, huge fan. Yeah. Enjoying the new season so far. I think one of the things I really like about the show is I genuinely never seem to have any idea where it's going. Like general ideas of like what's gonna go down, but like there's so many surprises in it. I feel like they've been pretty good with the trailers. Like they'll show you some things, but not very much. And yeah, so it's just full of surprises, and I love that about it. And yeah, it's just great. This season, my life has changed a lot in the last few years, and this season is the first. So my girlfriend and I just moved into a new place together, and she moved out here from New Jersey late last year, and she kept her job on the East Coast, so she's working remotely. But she still has to work East Coast hours. So because of that, I have kind of adjusted to that, like not quite as early as she does, but I get up pretty early and then end up in bed pretty early. So this is the first season that I have not been watching them the second they come out.
You're not taking advantage of your Pacific Coast midnight time zone.
Yeah, it feels weird. So I'm like being very careful about not getting online before we're able to watch it. And I try to wait for her. So far I've waited for her, but she's been able to kind of like sneak away for the half hour, 45 minutes or whatever that we need in her, and make it happen. So I haven't had to wait too long, but yeah, it has been weird to not be watching them the second they drop, because yeah, that was just kind of my tradition. But it's nice to have someone to watch it with now and enjoy.
Yeah.
That's interesting. We're going to be in London for one episode of Mando, and we're excited to like wake up and watch it right when it drops. It's going to be a morning thing that we can do,
like a breakfast activity. That'll be nice, like a normal breakfast activity.
Right. And that's what it used to also be that for me. I would watch it at midnight and then first thing again the next morning every single week. And last week we did watch. Well, we didn't watch it at midnight and right away, but we did watch it twice in a day. And I think I've actually watched today twice already too. So
Nice.
yeah.
So season 3 has been living up for you so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's crazy how long we had to wait. Like it became one of those things. It felt like it was never coming. And yeah, so glad to have it here. And I will say this is just me. I know not everyone feels this way. I don't know if this is a popular or unpopular opinion. I'm much more of a live action Star Wars guy. Like I don't really read any of the books. I have watched the animated shows. Never got too into most of them. I did enjoy Rebels, but the other ones I just haven't really fully gotten into. So some of all the Mandalore stuff, I'm not against it, but it's not my favorite part of the show.
Interesting
Yeah.
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Probably most of the diehards are loving that part of it, but yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just not the stuff that I get super into.
Well, this will be
Is it
a good talk, I
because
think.
yeah. Is it because like you're just not attached to it like other people might be, or like you don't know as much about that backstory?
I think that's probably some of it, yeah. But also at the end of the day, I just feel like I'm just a dumb guy and just want some like fun adventures. Like I just I don't think of well, I don't know. Star Wars goes down those paths sometimes, but I don't know. Yeah, I just kind of I'm more for the fun side of Star Wars.
Yeah.
What
Like,
was your
everybody. Oh, I was just gonna say, like, everyone loved Andor. I enjoyed Andor a lot too, but I did miss the fun side
That
of it.
one that
Yeah,
one got pretty dark, yeah.
yeah,
Kind of bleak.
yeah,
Oh, I totally agree with that sentiment. I loved Andor, but was also like, I'm ready for the Mandalorian to
yeah.
just pop it on and have some fun.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm curious, what was your thought as they're going to Mandalore? Because like in my head, I'm just so psyched to see this in live action. Were you psyched as well, or did you just have no idea what to expect?
Yeah, I didn't have a ton of ideas of what to expect. Again, I try to stay open minded. I'm not while it's not my favorite aspect of Star Wars. I'm not like I'm not one of the complainers. I'm like, why are we doing this? I go with it, and we'll see how it's going out. And yeah, the ending was fun. I'm just curious where that's going, and yeah, so it doesn't. I knew we were going to be doing that in this season, so I wasn't like surprised by that. So yeah, I didn't. I just didn't. It was not that I didn't set the bar high or low. There was no bar. I'm just going with it.
Honestly, like that feels like the best way to go forward with Star Wars. Like, don't worry about setting a bar. Like,
Yeah,
don't try not to have too many expectations because if you do, you're bound to have your heart broken at some point. So I get
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I like what you said about just not knowing what to expect, and even as someone like with the trailers, we spend so much time analyzing it, and we see shots of Paz Vizsla shooting, and we're like, oh, it must be a big battle, and then in the first episode, it's like, oh no, they're just fighting a dinosaur turtle, which is still cool, but it's
Yeah.
not like, how would you ever guess that that's what that shot is from?
Yeah, that's the thing. They get sneaky with the trailers. Not just Star Wars, but especially Star Wars, I think. Yeah.
Mhm.
They can be so misleading.
Well,
Mhm.
Yeah.
one of my favorite aspects of today's episode, I think, is the fact that I thought for sure we were going to go to Tatooine. Molly was totally called, oh, he's going to go to Peli. And so it opens on Tatooine. I was like, okay, here's the Tatooine episode of the season. We're going to be here for 40 minutes and he's going to do something and she'll give him the chip. And then next episode, he'll go get IG-11 fixed and then maybe he'll go to Mandalore. So the fact that it was like, no, 5 minutes in and out, we're going to Mandalore. I loved that.
Yeah, that surprised me as well. Yeah, because we keep. It's funny. A little bit of me rolls my eyes when we're like, oh, Tatooine again. Not that I dislike it, but it's just like, we were originally just told how like it's kind of the middle of nowhere and nothing happens there, and we're just there all the time. But I love it. I love when
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I like that Din has made these very specific connections and relationships. Like he wants IG-11 and no other droid. And then he wants to go to Peli because he doesn't trust anybody else and he only trusts Peli with this. Like, who knows if she's actually a good mechanic? But like Din is like one track mind. I know I've been to see Peli, and so I'm going back there.
That is a great point. That it's not like he had an existing relationship with her. She is obviously like kind of skeezy at every turn and ripping him off, and he still goes back like, well, I guess I'll go see Peli. She's the only one that can get this done.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Qui-Gon going to Watto. We'll try one of the smaller junk dealers first, and then just being like, we're gonna stick with you and not check anywhere else.
Yeah.
Good connection there. She mentioned chance cubes in the episode. So
I bet she was friends with Watto.
What is it? No dice. And then she says no chance cubes, and we were like, "Oh, I got you, Peli."
Okay, Peli. There are a couple times they slip in like just dumb jokes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like when we first got her character in this, I was kind of like, I don't know if she's gonna work for me.
Yeah.
And I've just kind of fallen in love with her ever since then. Like every time she shows up, she is like the audience's reaction to Grogu. She's like, "Where's Grogu? I want to hold him." And so I love her for that.
She goes back and forth for me. I didn't like her in season 1. In season 2, I started to come around on her. I liked her a lot in the Book of Boba Fett episode 5. And then in the finale of Book of Boba Fett, I was like, okay, this is a little much. So I was okay just spending 5 minutes with her this time around.
Yeah, it's same. I had a very hard time. Honestly, I think the biggest thing wasn't even the character necessarily for me that first time. It was the hair. I was like, that is the most Star Wars hair I've ever seen. But yeah, I'm with you. I enjoy when they go back to her, and I know she's still missing her tooth.
Yeah,
which is a fun little touch there. Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Also, the best part about Din, anytime Din goes back to Tatooine now, I'm like, well, there's a chance for Cobb Vanth. So there was a little bit of me that was like, oh, we're done with Tatooine, no Cobb? Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, when we thought we were going to get a whole episode on Tatooine, I was like, oh, here we go with the Tatooine cameos. When's Boba Fett going to show up? Might as well throw Black Chrysanthemum in there. Like, just all these characters that were in Book of Boba Fett. Why not have him here? But I was surprised that he just kind of came and left quickly.
I think that's the best aspect of the episode for me, is just that they got us used to this one format, and then they're like, no, you think he's going to do this thing, but no, we're going to dive literally into the waters of Mandalore, and we're going to get to some big stuff right away. But I will, before we go over to the Mandalore stuff, I will bring up my drawing, because it does have to do with Peli and a hero of the rebellion.
Yay. Oh, he has a medal.
Yeah, I put the medal on him. There's like a guy in a vest in the back and like some farm boy with a yellow jacket. They're unimportant. R5D4 is a hero of Yavin. I don't know if she is lying about that, or Molly and I were discussing like, okay, according to the From a Certain Point of View book, he never left Tatooine, but there is a reference book that says that he joined the rebellion at some point. But then Peli says she bought him from Jawas. So we were like, maybe he just told her the story of how he let R2-D2 get bought instead of him, and he saved the galaxy. So it's kind of like a sarcastic, oh, he's a hero of the rebellion.
Well, isn't there that Legends story about him like blowing himself up kind of? And yeah, I didn't know. That's where my brain went, was, oh, are they trying to like, are they trying to make this canon now? That was kind of how I took it. But Although I don't remember the specific details. Was he a part of the rebellion with that story or not?
So his story, and from a certain point of view, is kind of similar, except he's not force sensitive as he
Uh-huh.
was in the Legend story. In this one, R2 asks him, like, basically, I need to get bought. I need to get off the Sandcrawler, and the fate of the galaxy is in my memory banks. And so R5D4 does something in his head to, like, make it look like he has a bad motivator. So he gets put back on the Sandcrawler. And then after all the Jawas die, he just rolls off into the desert, hoping someone will take him in.
Gotcha.
It's such a sweet and like heroic story. And like, yeah, I don't know if they'll ever go into that in a TV show, but I'm just like, during our reaction, I was like, justice for R5D4. I was so excited that happened. But also in that story, R2D2 was about to do something really shady. Like, before he actually talked to R5, he was about to just go in and sabotage him himself.
Mm.
And I guess they had a chat, and he was like, no, man, I get it. So R2 is just savage.
What a rascal.
It is a really sweet story that, like, this is one of the few times where I'm like, having a backstory for the random droid character in A New Hope actually does make me want to root for R5 so much more in this episode. And also I like that he's a coward, because so many droids are just like brave all the time, or, you know, they're sassy, or he's more in line with C-3PO than he is R2D2, and I like that.
Yeah. I kind of had that same thought. It's like, why is he so scared? If he's supposed to just be going to like kind of test, get a sample of the air quality or whatever, what's he scared of? I guess maybe he was scared of what actually happened then.
So. Yeah, exactly what happened.
I mean, we don't know if he's ever been off Tatooine. She said, like, Peli says he's been in the rebellion, but
who knows?
We don't know what he's actually been up to.
Yeah.
I don't fully believe anything she says anyway. But yeah, let's dive over to Mandalore and talk about their approach to the planet, landing, going into the cave, losing R5. All of that was just fun to see for me. But I kind of knew what to expect, I guess, like going into the ruins, seeing what was left of Sundari. Tony, what was your familiarity with Mandalore as a planet going into this episode?
Not much, to be totally honest. I did watch all of Clone Wars, but it was admittedly kind of one of those, I'm gonna just kind of put this on the background while I'm doing some other things. So that knowledge didn't really stick with me. So yeah, my knowledge is pretty small. Like, I don't know a lot of specific stuff. So yeah, I really had no expectations or anything like that.
I feel pretty rusty just myself. I feel like I need to go back and watch the Mandalore arcs, because like I remember the basic beats of that story, but now that we're like really getting into the juicy stuff and the history, I need a refresher.
Yeah.
It was more just the simple architecture that I was like, yeah, it all looks right, which I don't know why they would have changed it or anything, but just very boxy, very cubist architecture. I loved all that. And I think they specifically recreated a couple of locations from the Clone Wars to have them walking around. And I thought that was just a fun little touch.
Oh yeah, I love stuff like that. If I had known that, I would have loved it.
Did it feel like there was anything missing as you were watching it, or were you just along for the ride?
Totally just along for the ride. Yeah.
Cool.
Again, literally zero expectation. Just letting it play out. Yeah.
It's I'm always curious about that, just because I'm always so like trying to find, okay, this connects to this and that and that. And that stuff excites me. So I'm always curious to see when someone's just like watching it as a normal human being. What's that experience like? What's it like to be normal, Tony?
Well, the thing is, I can be like that with certain things. I'm selective with the stuff I like get really like zone in on. Yeah. Well, I love Star Wars, but yeah, there's certain aspects that like I'll really go down certain paths, but not others.
You just reminded me. I forgot to ask you my favorite question because I've never asked you this before, I don't think. But do you have a favorite background or side character, or just underappreciated character that you don't feel like gets enough attention?
Well, because of what I've done for a living most of my life, I'm a sucker for anytime you put bands, like band characters in a thing. So literally any of those characters. I know they've done some things, but like especially I know there was some Cy Snoodle stuff on Clone Wars before, and I know there's been some stories and some books about some of the other characters, but yeah, I'd love some Figrin Dan stuff. I was excited they made some more toys of him recently. I had to, yeah, I'm a sucker for those. Anytime they make the band toys, I gotta get them.
Yeah. Anytime
Yeah.
they make a new band for Star Wars, like they had one recently in Visions. I don't know if you watched Star
yeah.
Wars Visions.
Yeah, the what were they called? I'm blanking on the name. But
Oh, Star Waver.
Yes, I think that's right. Yeah. No, that I really enjoyed that episode. It's funny. I'm a sucker for that stuff, but I also I can be very critical though too. Like sometimes it could just be done so badly or corny. And that episode I was skeptical of. I thought I was gonna hate it. And that was my favorite episode of that show. I thought it was really fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
I loved that they traveled around in like basically the music version of a food truck. They just had this like little ship that opened up into a stage.
It was like their van and a stage.
Yeah,
genius.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
If I could throw a character into consideration for you, just because you mentioned loving bands and stuff, and this is a fairly new character, but I think he might resonate with you, is the little drummer astromech droid.
I know. I was hoping that they would make some toys of that band. We don't know. Has there been much information about them? Like, do we know a name for him or for the band for that matter?
Not that I know of. Maybe it's like the Max Rebo experience. Like
Right.
the Max Rebo band blew up except for him. So he's just like, I'll change the name. And
yeah. Which it has been confirmed for sure that is supposed to be Max Rebo, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because yeah, it was exciting, and because initially I just assumed it was just another of the same species, but because also looked real weird.
Yeah, looked a little different.
Yeah.
Well, look, he survived a lot.
It's true.
He's been through a lot.
Yeah, I don't. It's wrong of me to judge. I'm sorry.
Well, we still don't really know what happened to him or the other band members since Garsa Fwip's place got blown up in Book of Boba
Max
Fett.
wasn't there. They specifically showed that Max was not there.
Oh, okay. But like
He's
the
fine.
drummer droid, I hope he wasn't there either.
He can be rebuilt.
Yeah, he's just a drummer.
That's true. They'll make a statue of him, and then Din will come in and say, "I want the drummer.
I want that drummer." Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Well, okay, let's get to Din and his capture by whatever that thing was.
Creepy.
Does anyone have any theories about that? Because honestly, I don't really.
It looked a lot like a Phil Tippett creation, which I loved, but it was like so creepy and gross the way it would like the way the head like crawled away. That like it's so gross. But I don't know what it is.
I'm not gonna go with it. I think this is really what it is, especially since, well, this is Star Wars. Nothing ever really seems to die, for sure. But
it was Darth Maul.
Well, it was very, and I looked. I was like, I can't be the only person thinking this, and I did some Googling. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not the only person thinking this. He had some General Grievous vibes there, and even the noises. Before I even like thought about like the the kind of forearms and all that, the noises that it was making even kind of sound like Grievous to me. So I definitely went there in my head. I didn't really expect that to be the case because I don't know. You go, oh well, he's dead, but is he? You know,
Right.
So that yeah, I don't know that's the only place that I went with that.
Mm.
It definitely had Grievous vibes of just there's only a little bit of him left. It's a
Hmm.
cyborg thing with like half a face in a vat and also organs. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just guessing that it's some sort of Mandalorian. Like maybe it used to be a Mandalorian human that
Mm.
survived the purge and just lives down there. And that maybe every Mandalorian that goes to say, like, I'm gonna check and see if Mandalore is really cursed, then this thing like traps him and kills him and sucks out its juices. And like we saw piles of Mandalorian helmets there. So I don't know what the heck was going on with that thing. I liked the design,
Yeah,
but
I
I
did
was just like,
too.
"What is this?"
I'm
Yeah.
seeing a lot of people in chat say it's dirge.
I don't think so.
Because
I,
we are gonna get that
Gendaya.
species in the Jedi Survivor video game, but I don't know. I mean, he could be around
I don't think he'd look like that.
because
They're
those are
they regenerate pretty well.
yeah, like they don't. They're very hard to kill, so I could see that as a possible theory. But I don't know. Alex, you said that you thought maybe it was just a person,
Yeah, I think it
right?
was just like a human that, in its desperation to survive, lost more and more of it himself. It looked like a half of a human man face, I guess. It lost more and more of himself, and just became this thing that needed like other organics blood to survive or something. I don't know. I think it was all just meant to be exactly this. I think they were just trying to show us something where it'd be like, what the hell was that?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I did enjoy. I also really liked the design, which I do feel like sometimes that is one thing about the shows. I don't always love some of the new creatures we're seeing. I feel like sometimes they're lacking a little bit for me, but I thought this was one of the cooler ones. And it was just like weird and interesting. And do you think come into play at all later, or we'll see this thing again, or some other version of that? Because I'm also totally okay with it kind of just being left as here was this weird thing, and now we're moving
Yeah.
on.
Mm-hmm. It
I,
reminds me of like a one of those deep sea creatures that look real scary because it was just kind of hiding out as like a trap, and when
yeah.
Din fell into it, it kind of like closed together. So that made me think of like weird deep sea creatures that are just waiting to chomp down on something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can go into hibernation and survive off of whatever liquids it gets out of people, and then the next one comes and it traps them and it does it all over again. I don't think we're going to learn anything more about it, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Never say never because this is the Star Wars universe, but I think they're probably done with it. They just needed something to catch Din so that Grogu could get out, show off his force powers, and go get Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
So they were like, let's make the weirdest thing we can. And I like
Into it.
Molly, you talking about the head skittering away. I immediately thought of the movie The Thing, where they kill one of the creatures and then the person's head just like rips itself off and grows spider legs and tries to escape. I'm like, it's just a robotic thing. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, if Maul can survive eating who knows what and build spider legs out of random parts, then other species can do it too.
Yeah, this is nothing. Well, that brings us basically to the Bo-Katan half of the story, which I really liked the first half, but the Bo-Katan half is what really sold me. So, Tony, what's your relationship like with that character? You have seen the Clone Wars and Rebels, but outside of the Mandalorian, like how much do you like her?
I feel like I'm sorry. I feel like all my answers are boring for these types of questions because I'm just sort of like I with her kind of the same thing where it's like I know she exists, I remember, but I didn't have like a big relationship I did not have a relationship with her, no matter what anyone says. But yeah, so I know a little bit about her, but nothing too much. Nothing too much. I'm
Nothing
speaking
too
so
much.
well. Yeah. Yeah. So again, I have another it's another kind of non-answer for you.
No, it's like I think that's interesting. So when she showed up in season 2, I was freaking out because I mean we had rumors that Katie Sackhoff was going to come back and play the character,
Yeah.
and I fully believed them, but I was still just psyched partially because we're big Battlestar Galactica fans, and we just wanted to see Katie like in the role playing it in live action.
Yeah.
But this is probably her best episode so far out of 4, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she totally stole the show for me. And we talked about this on our commentary. It's hard to do if there's a lot of Grogu things happening because I just light up whenever he does anything. But
Oh yeah.
I loved all of her stuff in this. Like just seeing Katie Sackhoff like really dig deep into this character. She seems to really care about her, and the way she talks about Bo-Katan in like interviews and stuff. I think she's really going deep into Bo-Katan, and like seeing her talk about her family, being back on Mandalore. That was so cool. I was really hoping for a flashback, but it's okay that we didn't get one because that would have been hard to do.
Oh, they've done flashbacks before, so I was with you. I was like, "Are we about to see Duchess Satine? What's happening?" Just all of our little history lesson, which Molly pointed out. It's clever that Grogu knows nothing about Mandalore, so the entire episode, Din and Bo-Katan are teaching him the history, but also they're teaching the audience what they need to know. It's very clever.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm kind of the middleman between the super fans like you guys that know all these things about her, and then but I'm way more knowledgeable than just the person that just watches The Mandalorian. Like
Yeah.
I knew about her and some things here and there, but yeah, not super specific.
Yeah. That's I classify those people as like my parents who they keep up with some Star Wars stuff
Yeah.
because of me or us and what we do.
Right.
But then every week they're like, now who was that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Before we dive too deep into Bo-Katan, because Molly brought him up, and we might just be talking about Bo-Katan for a while. Molly, what was your favorite Grogu moment of the episode? Because he did have a lot.
He sure did. I don't know. I think the part that made me make the loudest noise was when he popped out of the ship to jump into Peli's arms, because the way he just like did a little flip, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he just did that, and it's so cute. And
He's just showing off.
yeah, that and him like shuffling quickly, trying to like be sneaky around the monster and help Din at the same time was just adorable.
Yeah. Anytime we get to see him walk, I'm always excited for the walking.
Yeah.
Tony, what was your favorite Grogu moment of the episode?
He was very much reminding me of. He seemed more like a pet in this episode to me, other than a baby. And actually, here I'll just do it. I told you before we started.
Oh, yeah.
I did 2 drawings, and so one of mine was him being concerned about R5.
Oh.
Whoop.
That's so cute.
I did like that. The droid will be fine. Don't worry about him.
Yeah. So it made me think of my dog, that like anytime me or my girlfriend walks outside for 2 seconds, he's very concerned about where we went. And so he was making me think of my dog a lot on this episode.
He did make a lot of cute, concerned noises as R5 was going off. He was like,
yeah.
I
was almost
think
purring a little bit here and there.
Yeah, I was gonna. He reminds me of my cat quite a bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think the stealthy moment was also my favorite Grogu thing, of just watching him try to like waddle along.
Be sneaky. Yeah. We talked about how when he pops back into his pram to get back to the ship, that whole sequence could just be a ride at Disney World. Like
Yeah.
put people in a pram.
Oh
And
my
like that
God, you get in the
whole,
giant brown.
Yeah,
That
the
would be
Baby Yoda
amazing.
experience.
you even had the little monster pop out of the side to like
Yeah.
give you a little scare.
And you'd
I
be
just
wearing
loved
3D
that.
glasses, and it would.
Yeah. I was like, please build this in Disneyland or
Oh, yeah,
World,
they gotta.
wherever.
They gotta. Which we went to Disneyland right before Christmas, and we got to see Grogu. That was like that was our mission. That was like we'd been a bunch, but like it was new since the last time we had been. So
Mhm.
we happened to overhear one of the employees say kind of like where they come out, and so we kind of just hung out around
Everyone's
there for a
just
little while.
standing there.
Yeah.
I would like to see the baby.
Yeah.
Worth it.
That'll be
Yeah.
that'll be me next time we're
Yeah.
there, just like looking for him.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite scenes of this episode was Bo-Katan fighting that big old monster thing, droid monster man. Because she picks up the Darksaber, starts using it like that. That's just something that I was hoping she would get to do this season. And Tony, what did you think of that action moment?
Well, that was the thing. Then my girlfriend turned to me and was immediately like, "Wait, so she can use the sword now? Like, is that hers now?" And yeah, I'm not totally clear on that either. Like, is she in possession of it now?
Yeah, because last we saw her, she was basically acting like she wouldn't touch it unless she won it through combat.
Mhm.
But I think she's given up on all that because everyone left her because she didn't have it. And like she's just in this really depressed stage of life right now, which we can all relate to.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, she used it very easily. Like it's heavy for Din, but it's not heavy for her because she has held it before.
I took that scene or those multiple scenes as she's going to say that, oh, these rules matter and it has to be won through combat. So I think she specifically thinks it belongs to Din, and for it to become mine, I have to beat him and I won't touch it otherwise. But when she needs it and the chips are down, she's going to pick it up, and she obviously is great with it. And so like those rules don't matter. And like I just want to shake every Mandalorian and be like, stop it. Just be Mandalorians. It's not that hard. So I just loved that scene for that reason, that it's not heavy to her. She wields it no problem. It looked awesome. I loved the whole choreography of the fight, that like knee slide underneath the thing to dragging the blade through its supposed belly, I guess. But
Yeah.
I just love Bo-Katan.
That's what I drew for my drawing, which Bo-Katan getting her Darksaber back.
Oh,
Nice.
that
We
looks
don't have
good.
to look at this. This arm was done as a rush job, but everything else,
Hands are hard.
yeah. But yeah, just seeing her first, I got really excited about the shield because I have her Funko Pop where she's holding that shield. So that got me really psyched. And then her fighting with that and the Darksaber, I was like, yes. And yeah, later in the episode, Din just takes it back, and that's not an issue. Neither of them bring that up.
It was an issue to me. Honestly, like I've been very much thinking, and I still do think, that this story is about Din being a lowly bounty hunter foundling that becomes Mandalore. But also, when he picked up the Darksaber and put it back in his pocket, I was kind of like, that's not yours. I had just this reaction of like, it should be with Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
Now, with her, it not being heavy for her, is that explanation literally just that she has experience with it, or is there more to that I'm not realizing?
Kind of.
The way the armor explained it, it's heavy with burden. Like he feels like he's not worthy of it, so it's heavy for him. Bo-Katan knows that she's worthy of it, has held it before. Probably it doesn't like have the same effect on her as it does Din. But yeah.
Gotcha.
There's an episode of Rebels where Sabine is training with the Darksaber, and when she first activates it, she says something like, "Oh, it's heavier than I thought I would be." And Kanan teaches her that you're going to have to make a connection to the crystal that's inside of it. And it is basically just are you using it for the right purpose? Do you believe that you're worthy of this symbol? And Din, at least in that episode of Book of Boba Fett, was using it to be a bounty hunter. And it's like, is that really what you should be doing right now?
Mm.
Right.
And now I'm curious. I didn't really think about it until right now that he's not a bounty hunter anymore, but he is still struggling to wield it. So it's kind of like, yeah, is he still not living up to who he should be? Or maybe it's the Darksaber being like, you don't have to do this business in the mines, man. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's a symbol of his own belief of him just being like, I guess I'll go bathe in the living waters because I have to. But
I'll be curious to see, like, after he's been in the waters, is it gonna change weight? Is it gonna be a little easier to use? Because he's gonna maybe think that he's back to being a Mandalorian because
yeah,
he got into the magic waters, and
that's
I can't
an
wait for
interesting thought.
I can't wait for Bo-Katan to tell him about the mythosaur.
Or if she does.
If she does, yeah. But I don't want to.
That's an interesting thought, Molly, because when he was wielding it in the Book of Boba Fett, he hadn't told the armorer about taking his helmet off. So it might be a guilt thing. And that if he bathes in the living waters, he might be like, okay, I'm forgiven, I'm redeemed. Now I can wield the Darksaber, even if he doesn't fully make that connection. But I kind of hope that he breaks away from all of that, like, zealous, super culty stuff, and is just, it'd be interesting if he feels like he's redeemed, still can't wield the Darksaber, and he's like, I don't understand.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. I loved and hated how this episode ended because I was like, what are they gonna do now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I've had conflicting emotions on it too, because I just want to shake Din so many times, but when he got to the living waters, I was like, you know what? I'm happy for you. It means a lot to you, so it means something to me as well.
She was very sarcastically like reading that little plaque and telling him about the lore. Like that was so perfect for her in that moment. She's like, yeah, whatever. Like, I grew up here. I was basically royalty, and like people showered me with gifts, but it was like, whatever. And there's this stupid history of these mines, and it's all make believe. And now, is it?
Well, the mythosaur is something that we're kind of on even ground here, Tony, because they've never shown us one. There's one picture of one from an old Legends book that is now like, that doesn't look like what we saw.
Right. I think I saw that online earlier today. Yeah.
So this is something that no one knew what it was going to look like or how big it would be or any of that.
We only know what the skull looks like because it's like everywhere.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I will say I did, as soon as he went under, my brain did go there. I was like, oh, is this did a mythosaur pull him under? But yeah, I didn't. And then even when we saw that little bit, it was dark. And actually, that I'll just do it now, because my other drawing that I did, it's really not so much actually about a specific scene. It's me watching the entire episode.
It's very dark.
Yes, our living room has a lot of windows, and we were watching it during the daytime, and like almost probably more than half the episode, I was literally just like, I can't see anything. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
So when I watched it the second time, I got to see way more. I watched it in a different room, and it was darker, and I could actually see what was happening.
I've seen people make that same complaint, comparing it to like how dark some episodes of Game of Thrones was. But
Yeah.
I guess we watched it in a dark room, like a super dark room.
I think like our TV, I've never really had a problem with darkness in shows. But then when I was getting images today on my computer monitor and editing, I was like, these are so dark, like way darker than I remembered them. So I like was trying to brighten them all up. But yeah, it was a dark episode.
Yeah, I think if I'd had my the old days of watching at midnight, I think I would have been fine. But trying to watch it at 11 in the morning was not working for me.
That's
Like I was
probably-
tempted to turn it off at one point. I was like, I want to watch this so bad, but I'm kind of not even watching it.
They just expect everyone to watch it at midnight or 3 a.m. and like that's what you should do if you want the full experience.
They expect everyone to have blackout curtains all the time.
Yeah, that was the thing. It had the blinds shut and everything, but still too hard.
That is interesting. It seems like a volume thing. Obi-Wan was also just a crazy dark show. Just hard to see some stuff. Like Night on Tatooine might as well have been pitch black.
Right.
I always
weird.
For Obi-Wan at least, I thought it was their way of like trying to hide the fact that it looked very much like it was the volume.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I will say, I think that so far this season, because I get very, and this is not a criticism on the show. This is a criticism on myself. When I watch really anything, but especially Star Wars, I get so caught up in. I start thinking about the reality of them actually shooting it and just what went into making it, and knowing about the volume and all that. Like I am very hyper aware of it, but I've been not focusing on that as much this season so far, and I don't know if that's just it keeps getting better. I don't know if that's that or if I'm just not. I'm just learning how to not do that so much. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you guys have noticed any difference.
Could
No,
be a
I
mixture of both of those things. I like that it's they keep jumping to so many different locations. Maybe it's part because of that. Like we're not on the same planet for the entire episode, so we don't have time to really look at the horizon and be like, that's definitely a stage.
Yeah.
I think it's a mixture of the technology improving, but also the Mandalorian from the start. They were like, we're going to develop this technology and use it. And they made the Mandalorian with that in mind, where I don't think Obi-Wan Kenobi was in pre-production thinking we're going to use the volume for so much stuff. And so I don't know that it should have been using the volume, but the Mandalorian, just the fact that Din's armor is all chrome and reflective, his N1, the Razor Crest, all of these things just reflect the world around it. So that helps pull it all together. But I'm with you, especially in season 1. I was like trying to pick apart what was and wasn't volume. I was wrong all the time, but I'm not doing that now. There'll be times where I'll just go like, oh yeah, this is all fake.
Yeah.
and it was fooling me. It was drawing me in.
Oh yeah, like I mean, I was fooled initially until because I think I was several episodes in before I found out about back at season 1.
Oh yeah,
and then but then rewatching it, I get very obsessed with trying to tell because when you know to look for, you can kind of tell. But
yeah,
anyway, I don't know what my point was. I just didn't know if you guys felt like it's looking even better now.
No, I think it looks great.
Yeah. I think all the ships look really really good. Like when Bo-Katan's gauntlet lands on Mandalore, and even when it was just pulling in, you could see kind of like parts of the ship moving like it would if it were real. And like when it lands, it just looked so real. And I was like, I wish the Lego sets looked like that.
I love that shot of it flying over Sundari, Bo-Katan's ship, and like the wings are kind of shaking and stuff. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, it's been almost an hour, and I saw that we had some questions specifically for Tony. So,
Uh-oh.
well, they wanted to make sure that you were here to answer them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I starred all the ones for him, if you want to read them, Alex.
Okay. First one's from Johnny C. Books and Comics. Thank you, Johnny. For Tony, just wanted to let you know that I saw you guys with Hello Goodbye when you played my tiny hometown of Macomb, Illinois 10 years ago. And to this day, one of my favorite concerts ever. Thank you.
That's very nice. Thank you.
That's awesome. I love
Not
that.
a question.
Just a great comment. Yeah.
Yeah, so very nice comment.
I don't know that any of these are questions necessarily, but that's okay. That's okay.
The Stereotypical Stereotype Show says, little known fact, I interviewed Justin from MCS with a creature from the Black Lagoon puppet at Vans Warped Tour 2010, and it's in my videos. Stay cool.
Cool.
Wow. Yeah, I was not aware of that. I'll have to look out for that.
That's 13 years ago.
Yeah, these things make me feel very old.
Yeah. Let me scroll all the way down to the bottom for this one.
Oh, man. General Overalls, thank you for the very generous super chat. I could see a Grogu ride at Disneyland similar to that old E.T. ride that I got stuck on as a kid. Thanks again, Motion City, for the music.
I love that ride.
Thank you for all the nice comments.
Also, fun fact about the ET ride. When we were there last, it was like the hottest summer, or like the hottest week of the summer ever. And the ET ride is the perfect place to go cool off because it's all indoors and they really crank the AC in there. So we were like, yes.
I would have loved to get stuck on the ET ride.
Yeah. When it's 100 degrees outside and you're just waiting in lines all day.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to stay in there.
That is a good thing about Disneyland in general, is I feel like most of the rides are inside. Not all of them, but a lot of them are inside. So on those hot days, it's good.
Yeah.
I see two more, Molly.
Oh, can you highlight them so I can find them?
I can say that one of them is from Maddie Gunner.
Just tell me what time.
6:05 p.m. from Maddie Gunner. That says, not a question, just wanted to say Tony Thaxton rules and commit this to memory is a GOAT level album. Have a great stream.
Thank you.
I agree.
Everyone's being very nice. I don't know. I'm so bad. I say thank you. I don't know what else to say other than thank you. And
I'm the same way. I hate compliments. So
yeah, I'm not very good at taking them, but I don't think that I don't appreciate them.
I found it.
Molly and I were on her channel doing the Newlywed Game a week or two ago, and the question was for Molly to answer what was my favorite album, and she got it right. Let's commit this to memory.
Nice.
The specific album too.
Yeah.
I know.
Which is weird because it doesn't have my favorite Motion City song on it, but it is my favorite album.
And what is your favorite song?
Future Freaks Me Out. I mean,
okay.
It's too much fun.
Yeah, that kind of has become the thing. Like we have to close with it. There's kind of no way around with it. That's the one everyone seems to get the most excited for. So it's hard to play anything after that.
It's super fun.
Thank you.
And the last one is for all three of us from Leftist Hominid at 548, Molly.
Oh, that was way up at the top. Okay.
Yeah. To celebrate the next Boonta Eve, what will you do?
Do we know when that is?
I think we should just say it's on March 8th now.
Oh,
that's true.
As a fandom, we now have a date.
Yeah,
so what are we going to do?
Treatment.
Yeah. Well, March 8th is close to my birthday, so might just, if it lands on the right day, like if my birthday is on a Tuesday and then on the 8th is the next weekend, then I might go to karaoke. I think karaoke for Boonta Eve sounds great.
And I will take my drums and I'll play drums behind your karaoke.
That would be awesome.
Happy birthday.
I'll be out in the parking lot doing donuts because that's what they were doing in Tatooine. They were like Tokyo drifting out there. I don't know.
I think it's Tatooine drifting now.
Tatooine. Tatooine drifting. Yeah.
Yeah, was that a race or were those just two drunk people driving around Mos Eisley?
That's a good question.
know.
I know.
I kind of assumed it was a race of some kind, but
that's
now
what
I'm
I
not
thought,
sure.
but then it was only the two of them. So yeah.
And one of them crashed.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll be more careful than that. The Jawas had like necklaces and like
Yeah.
beads and
Yeah.
Like Mardi
stuff
Gras.
on. Yeah.
Oh, is that okay? Like it was a boon to Eve. Yeah, I was wondering. I didn't put that together. Yeah.
If a Jawa takes the robe off, they get beads.
Oh yeah, Peli did mention something about someone getting too drunk during Boonta Eve,
Oh, yeah.
she alluded to that.
Yeah, she made the old the gesture, the drinking gesture.
Yeah.
I think she was referring to the entire city when she said that.
Yeah, I believe she did. Yeah.
Well, then it is kind of like Mardi Gras then. And
Well, I'm
also
gonna write it
Alex's
down.
birthday.
I'm going to write down March 8th as Boonta Eve for next year, and maybe we'll try to think of something to do special.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah, it's like Life Day is in the middle of what, November?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Life Day is just
So-
the day that the special came out. So why not make Boonta Eve March 8th?
There you go.
Let's
I'm
do
not
it.
going to stop you.
Although I guess Boonta Eve was first on the release date for the Phantom Menace, if we're going to get nerdy and nitpicky about this.
Mm. Which
True.
we don't have
Oops.
to.
It's kind of our thing, Molly. Well, it's been an hour, Tony. We've kept you long enough. So where can people find you online? And there are already links in the description. But what do you have coming up? What would you like people to know about?
There's a few Motion City soundtrack things happening this year, mostly some festivals here and there. So that info, you could just go to motioncitysoundtrack.com for that. I'm Twitter and Instagram at Tony Thaxton, and then I do a podcast called Bizarre Albums. Those come out every Tuesday. It's always about an actor, athlete, fictional character, whatever, making an album, and I kind of go and dig deep and tell the story of how these happened. And actually, this week's episode,
I was going to make sure
Billy
you
D.
said this.
Williams. Yeah, there's a Billy D. Williams album from 1961. So that's the episode this week.
Wow.
Got into that, and yeah, those are anywhere you get podcasts. And yeah, I don't know. I do a bunch. I produce a bunch. I'm also on-air producer for a show called Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. I also play drums in a band called Don't Stop or We'll Die, which is a very silly band. If anybody watched the show Love on Netflix, it's some of the guys from that band, that show. Play with them. That's a lot of fun. There's some records on Spotify and all that stuff. So yeah, check that out.
And I think Bizarre Albums also did 2 other Star Wars albums:
There's
the Miko and the
Christmas
yeah.
album as well. And then I also
Ooh.
I've actually done a couple. There's more. There's a Ron Carter, this jazz guy, made a record called Empire Jazz. I covered that episode before, where he just did jazz versions of the Star Wars music. And then there's another one that's Patrick Gleason's Star Wars, I think is his name. It's been a while since I did that one. I'm blanking a little bit. I'm pretty sure it's Patrick Gleason. But yeah, he did like all the Star Wars music. He kind of like did his own versions of them, all like synthesizer and stuff. And yeah, well, it's fun. I love when I can find an excuse to do some Star Wars episodes.
Me too.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us for an hour and talking about The Mandalorian.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. Thrilled to do.
Yeah.
I'm
I
a
look
fan.
forward to seeing you again. I am too.
Also, thanks for doing 2 drawings. I don't think we've had that.
Oh
done
yeah, Tony's a real overachiever.
Yeah, you know.
Gotta make up for those boring answers, Tony. Jeez.
Well, I know. That's what I had to pick it up somewhere. So,
I'm kidding.
but it's deserved.
Well, can't wait to see you again when you're in Atlanta or we're out in LA or something. We'll find some time. But
Absolutely.
have a great rest of your day.
Thanks a lot. You too, guys. Bye,
See you.
everybody.
Bye.
And we will hang out and we're going to answer your chat questions. We're going to take a quick 1-minute break because today's stream is sponsored by Babbel. So we're going to play that real quick. We'll be back in about a minute.
Now a word from our sponsor, Babbel.
One of the most exciting things about a new year is that you have no idea what adventures are in store for you. From new travel experiences to new jobs or picking up new skills, there's no better way to prepare for 2023 than by learning a new language with Babbel. Babbel is the language learning app that sold more than 10 million subscriptions. Thanks to Babbel's addictively fun and easy, bite-sized language lessons, you can feel confident no matter where the new year takes you. Unfortunately, Shriwook and Huttese aren't options yet, but you can choose from 14 languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. 10-minute lessons created by over 150 language experts are a perfect way to learn on the go, and you can learn several options outside of regular lessons with access to podcasts, games, videos, stories, and even live classes in the language you want to learn. Start having real-life conversations in a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Right now, get up to 55% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/Star Wars. That's babbel.com/Star Wars for up to 55% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. And we're back.
We did it.
I did it. I ran downstairs, got another drink, made it back upstairs. No problem.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
Ooh, Anari, no. Unfortunately, Mandoa is not an option on Babbel either, but I should add that specifically for the Babbel Mando stream ads. It's a good idea.
Is that... I understand that is a Mandalorian language.
Yeah.
But is that what's like written in the Mandalorian script?
Yes. So they have a written language and a spoken language, but they're both called Mandoa.
Okay. Love that.
Love that for them.
I'm going to take a quick bathroom break because I was late to our own show and I didn't have time to do it before. I'm going to do it now.
Okay.
BRB.
I'll dive into questions then.
Okay.
Our first one is from WC1376C. Thank you so much. That cliffhanger ending, HF, I think I know what that stands for. Holy frick, right? Holy frack. Who expected that other than Alex? I didn't expect it from I don't know. I didn't think it was going to happen in episode 2. Unfortunately, when the Mando armorer was like, in the recap, she said the thing about the mythic mythosaur, and I was like, are we going to see a mythosaur this episode? Like, why are they building that up? So once they went to Mandalore, I was kind of on edge thinking it would happen, which I kind of wish they didn't include it in the recap. I feel like they didn't have to do that. But I guess people who don't know what a mythosaur is would have been like, what's that creature? What's the point of that? But then, Bo-Katan goes through the inscription again. So you know what? They should have kept that out of the recap. That's what I think. But it didn't really diminish my enjoyment. It just felt like a light spoiler, which was in the show itself. But, oh well. Our next one is from Kyle Lewis. Thank you so much, Kyle. Calling it now, Bo and Din will be an item soon. I would not be mad at that. Like, I don't consider myself a shipper so much. But I'm just a huge fan of Bo-Katan, and Katie Sackhoff looks great. She's fantastic in the role. Just seeing her strut around on Mandalore, like I want nothing but the best for her and Din. I think I'd be happy if they got together. I feel like I have just a handful of Star Wars ships, and you know what? Bo-Katan can be one of them. Our next one is here from Queersland, Australia. Thank you so much. I 100% thought that was a cyborg Dianoga with the eye. I don't know what it is in universe, but in real life, I believe it was for sure inspiration. Yeah, I don't know what we should be thinking that thing is, because that was so bizarre. And I don't know that we're ever going to find out. But
I'm back.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
We're on Queersland, Australia's super chat. and we're talking about the cyborg thing
Okay.
and what it might be. Also, let's jump back one now that you're back. Do you ship Bo and Din?
No.
No. Okay.
No. Bo, she deserves better.
Really? You think
Yeah.
you hold on. Are you the one person on the internet that thinks not so highly of Pedro Pascal?
No. Not Pedro. We all know what Molly thinks of Pedro from the past 2
I was trying to
episodes
get
of
you.
this.
I was trying to get you.
Don't get it
All
twisted.
of a sudden, Molly doesn't like Pedro.
Look, no tea, no shade, no pink lemonade, but Din is not the best Mandalorian. We saw that today. He's clumsy and just doesn't know what he's doing, and he's got a long road ahead of him, and he's got a child. Maybe Bo doesn't want to help take care of Grogu.
I'm imagining Din as a husband now. And just, can you imagine sending him to the grocery store and he'd just be walking around like, is this an apple? Is this a broccoli? He would be asking what everything was. You'd send him for something simple and he would not be able to find it. And he would come back covered in bruises.
Bo had to save him twice in this episode. Like, he's got a ways to go. And, maybe I'll change my mind down the road, but as of right now, no. No, ma'am.
Does this look apple to you? Exactly, yeah. You'd send him in for something simple, and he'd come back with a hammer, and you'd be like, Din, why?
I'm not anti-single dads. I'm just saying Bo-Katan's been through a lot, and if she doesn't want to be with someone who has a small child like Grogu, then she doesn't have to.
Oh, I
she
agree.
Wants. She just wants to sit on that throne and sulk, and I get that.
I think just everyone wants Bo-Katan to be happy. Just like she's been depressed on that chair for a while. I think she's turning it around. I think that her seeing the Mythosaur is going to renew her faith in the planet Mandalore, in herself, in her people. I'm really excited to see what happens in the next episode. Just how this affects her. Did Din see it? Is she going to tell Din? Does she need to? Like, there's so many questions, and they're all like personal character questions, and I'm excited about that.
She's a character that, like a lot of characters in Star Wars, I have trouble honestly shipping because we don't know what she's feeling, especially in this moment, like in time. Maybe we'll get to know her a little bit more as these episodes go on, but so far we don't know what's really going through her head, and we don't know if she's even looking for a relationship. And obviously Din isn't.
And I was going to bring this up because I think I agree with Reverend Trigster that neither of them really seem interested in that right now. Like, they're both very quest-oriented people.
Yeah.
But I do kind of like shipping them. I was like, Cal and Marin are my number one ship, but they actually, I think, have potential. Bo and Din, I don't know if that's going to happen.
We all know Din has it in for Cobb Vanth. Like, the chemistry there.
Who doesn't? That's not fair. Everyone in the galaxy, both fictional and real, has it in for Cobb Vanth.
I'm just saying, the two of them had real chemistry, whereas Bo-Katan seems just annoyed with him all the time and like bored of his antics, and I don't know.
That sounds like you describing yourself and me.
Tired of your antics?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's too late. We're married.
Gotcha. And because it's relevant, I'll bring up Ruoshin's super chat. Thank you. Bo can change him, Molly. She
But
just
does
wants
she
to
want
fix him.
to?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm too old for that game. She's not in it to have to work on and change someone like Den. She deserves someone that is already on her level. Like, that's all I'm saying.
Everyone's got it in for Cobb Vanth. I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So now let's go to Queensland, Australia. Talking about the whatever that thing was. They thought maybe it was a cyborg Dianoga.
I like that. That would be cool because it did kind of like it was kind of like made of trash or like just spare parts, and it was just a big old eyeball.
And Dianogas are sentient, so at least semi-sentient. So
another character that had a story and a certain point of view.
Yep. So there is. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I really don't think a Dianoga was surviving there. I think it was like in any option I throw out is just going to sound ridiculous, but I still do think it's just something that lost all of its humanity as it desperately tried to survive.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing else.
It could be, I mean, because we have Grievous, it could be a Kalish that got down to just an eyeball or something similar to just an eyeball. It's hard to tell what was in that little glass globe
It's
thing.
a very Star Wars thing because I'm like, that was at most like this much of a face.
Yeah, because
but it's Star Wars, so they're alive and they're fine.
When it came out of the big spider one, it had like when it had arms and legs, it looked like it had more organic parts, kind of like Grievous that were like inside, and it had those tubes attached to it. But then when the head came off, I was like,
yeah, it's
what
like
the heck?
It doesn't need all those organic parts, I guess. I assume the head was kind of like an escape pod of like this is our
resort.
Our last ditch effort to escape and survive and I don't know, rebuild something. I don't know. I think it was just a weird thing. I hope they talk about it in the gallery making of this year for this season.
I liked my analogy of the deep sea creature. I like thinking of it like a Phil Tippett kind of creation where he makes all these like just weird, creepy looking creatures, and they don't need a name or a species. They're just creepy looking, and they're there to serve a very specific purpose. And like you said, that purpose was to trap Din, so that Grogu had to leave and bring Bo back.
I think they were like, okay, something in the mines has to separate them. What's it gonna be? And Phil Tippett was like, I have an idea.
I have seen a few other people in chat mention the Bo-Omar monks.
That
they can survive in the little glass globes and the spider legs. So maybe it was inspired.
That's
by
their
that.
brain. So it's like a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. What's the next one?
Vex431.
Okay.
Says, how was Din planning on proving that he bathed in the waters? Obviously, I love your profile picture, first of all, and thank you for the super chat. Obviously, now he can tame the Mythosaur instead, and that would be enough for them, but what if it wasn't there? Great question. And I have that question too. I guess he could rip the plaque off of the wall, that plaque that Bo-Katan was reading. Be like, look, I was there. I took a dip. We were joking in the Q&A about the potential of like a gift shop being there, but now I'm like, we might not have been that far off. There was a plaque there. It seems like a site that people would just go visit, and like it would not shock me if there was a gift shop somewhere nearby.
Samuel Rogers in chat said he could take pictures. That's true. They probably have head cams.
I didn't even think about that.
They definitely have cameras in their helmets
That's the
somewhere.
most obvious answer, and I was like, I love the idea of him just taking
It's
a
like a
selfie in the water.
no, it'll be like a dash cam. Like that's got to be part of their helmet. Because, like you said
Maybe.
about the camera in the
Yeah,
ship
yeah.
having a purpose, maybe it'll be something like that. I don't
Or
know.
Bo-Katan takes a picture of him, and he's just like in the water, like, I did it.
I
Oh,
had a
that's funny.
thought just then. Do we know that the armorer has been there?
No, I mean, no, we don't know her full story. We know she was on Concordia with Den.
Yeah. And like aside from the very obvious video and or picture that could have been taken that we just now thought about, she Bo-Katan could end up going with Din to the armorer, and she could be like, I was there, I saw it, but I don't know why she would.
I mean, she didn't have to do anything she did to help Den this week.
That's
So
true. She has nothing better to do.
I'm so curious to see just the effects of seeing a mythosaur on her. And we were talking about this during our commentary of, that last shot is, in my mind, it's Bo looking shocked, but she's wearing the helmet, and I don't know what she was
Yeah,
feeling. And we,
that
we
was
talked about how like the helmets allow us, the audience, to just imprint our own emotions onto characters. Like I
mhm.
think that Paz Vizsla was looking on it with pride at the child that was being baptized in episode 1. I don't know, he could have been pissed about that. I couldn't see his face, but in my mind it's pride.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing that I didn't like about the end. I wish for Katie Sackhoff's sake that she could have taken off the helmet in that last shot and we could see a facial reaction. Cause like, yeah, when we just see the helmet, we can tell kind of what's going on. She's like breathing really hard and the camera kind of zooms in. So we know like she's having a dramatic reaction as anyone would seeing a mythosaur in the magic water.
Yeah. And a lot of people are pointing out, like, yeah, she audibly gasped when she saw the mythosaur, and she was
Oh yeah,
definitely
that was in
shocked. Like,
the subtitles.
yeah, oh, like I get that, but because the helmet was on, like, she might be a happy shocked or just a like emoji face shocked, or I don't know. But I'm glad we don't know because
Yeah.
I have questions.
I think she was genuinely shocked, not necessarily happy, because she spent the whole
Just
episode kind of talking very nonchalantly and kind of making fun at the idea that these are magic waters, the
yeah,
idea of the mythosaur, the whole like tradition and stuff. But I don't know. She's a changed woman now.
that's yeah. Like I can't wait to see her reaction to that.
What if, oh no, what if her and Din fight over who gets to try to tame the mythosaur?
Mm. I mean
Probably not.
that we're
Din
doing the
could
same
never.
thing.
Din could
I mean,
never.
honestly, she'd kick his ass. Uh, it just seems like the same argument we had about like, oh, is Bo-Katan gonna try to fight Din for the Darksaber? And I don't. I think that this episode showed us that she has no interest in fighting other Mandalorians.
Yeah.
She wants them to unite. I do right now think that the overall story is going to be about Din, obviously. And so I'm thinking that Bo-Katan eventually might stand behind him and support his claim. Or, like I said in my review today, I could see them all just sharing power, leadership. Like it doesn't have to
Mhm.
be the Mandalore. It can be Din and Bo-Katan and also Boba Fett, Sabine Wren, throw Cobb Vanth in there. Why not? Like the idea of this show is, what does it mean to be a Mandalorian? And
Yeah.
I think as cool as it is to say this is the way, I think that's going to change. And they're not going to be like, oh, there's only one way. It's like, no, if you're just a Mandalorian,
Mhm.
here, you want the Darksaber, you use it for a while. You need it, here, it's yours. Like, I think sharing these symbols of power would be cool.
Yeah. I would like to see, if we jumped to the future, like Mandalore is thriving again, and it's led by a council of Mandalorians or something. Like it's not just like one to rule them all, you know, like something along those lines. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
The way I see it, there's a lot of different ways the story can go, and I'm along for the ride. Like Tony said, whatever they do, I think I'm going to like, because if it does become a fight to see who rides the Mythosaur and Bo-Katan wins, I'll be psyched by that as well.
Yeah. Before we read the next super chat, because I'm in this chat, it shows me the people that join the Biggs mega fans. Yay!
I like that title.
Page turners, they were not. Thank you so much for joining. Dragoness Prime has the next super chat. It's you, dude. I thought that Bo using the Darksaber was the most excited I was going to be in this episode, but then we got a damn Mythosaur. We sure did.
I tend to not be the most emotive person in our reactions, but Molly specifically came in while she was editing the reaction today and told me that she liked this one because I clapped in it, and it's when Bo-Katan picked up that Darksaber again and fought with it.
Do you remember the last time you clapped in a reaction?
Do you?
Mm-hmm. I edit their reactions.
Oh, it was when B2Emu got flipped over, and then Brazo kicked that dude in the chest.
Yeah. So we know Alex only claps in the really exciting moments.
That's how you know it's good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm like,
That, or when you like,
it's not even that. It's not even that cool. I'm more just like, but I'm into it. I promise.
There was another moment. I think this might have been new, when you like scooted all the way to the edge of the couch and you got up close.
I was trying to see it better. I was trying to see the weird cyborg thing. I was like, I don't know what that is, and I was trying to. I thought if I were 3 inches closer, I would figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are easily the two most exciting moments of this episode, I think.
I'll show my drawing again for anyone who missed it. It's Bo with the Darksaber. I wish I had made room. I wish I had made room to draw her shield, but I was like, I don't want to draw her whole body in armor. It's too much. It's too much. Cody the Nelson has the next one. I think I put it in here.
Yeah. Feels like a toss-up on who will ultimately wield the Darksaber / ride the Mythosaur / become Mandalore, but I'm starting to wonder if Din and Bo will eventually marry, unite the clans, and rule together. Kind of another... Go ahead.
I was just also going to say this other part that I put in here, because I wasn't sure which one of those was his message that they wanted to get through.
Okay.
It says, messed up my first super chat. Hopefully you guys will still see this. Love everything you two do and the constant positivity. I usually miss these live streams, but always listen the next day at work at 3 a.m. Oh, man.
Thank you, Cody.
Thank you.
So I do kind of like what we were just talking about. I do think there's a chance for them to share power. I don't necessarily think they need to be married to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to complain if two beautiful people get together. and save the galaxy. But also part of me likes the idea, because I just love that scene in the Mandalorian season 2 finale where it's Din and it's Bo-Katan and Casca Reeves and Boba Fett, and they're all like pointing at each other, saying like, "You're not a Mandalorian, you're a clone." And earlier in the season, Din was like, "You're not a Mandalorian, you took your helmet off." And Boba Fett just doesn't seem to care either way. But
Mhm.
like these three people, and I also think genuinely we could throw Cobb Vanth into the mix in the end, but there's these three people who I think are all Mandalorian, and they're all pointing at each other going, "You're not Mandalorian." So the idea that they would all, like Bo-Katan wants them to do, set aside their differences and work together and share the Darksaber, and also be like, "Hey, Cobb Vanth, you wore Mandalorian armor for a while, and you used that power for a great reason, and you protected your town. Here, we made you a set. Come join us. And here's the Darksaber if you need it." Like,
Mhm.
something about that feels great to me. I don't know if they're going to do that, but it's just something that popped into my head that I liked.
I don't think this completely works as a comparison, but it's like Frodo carrying the ring all by himself, and in the end, Sam is like, share the load, and he has to like carry him and help him out there. But we all see what the One Ring did to Frodo. Like, it kind of tore him apart. And obviously, the Darksaber is not the same as the One Ring, but like, it's heavy with burden, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to be, you're considered Mandalore, the
Mhm.
leader, period. End of sentence.
Yeah,
Like, that's a lot of pressure.
I mean, the Darksaber does have like this One Ring kind of mythos behind it. It's not an evil object. It does not
No.
corrupt who holds it,
Yeah.
but and I always think of this quote because Christopher Lee talked about it while he was shooting Lord of the Rings, and also he's Dooku, but he said, and it's, I don't think this is his quote, but power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And the Darksaber is a symbol of power. And so it does have the potential to corrupt. I mean, I think we saw that with Pre Vizsla, and we saw it with Darth Maul. And then we saw the opposite with Sabine. Like the Darksaber is not inherently evil, but the power it
Mhm.
represents can be bad. So if they just shared that and spread out the power,
Yeah.
instead of saying the one person who wields this blade is going to make
Mhm.
all our decisions, like that hasn't worked in the past. So they should cut it out.
Melt it down, make a bunch of little Darksabers
Little dark
and
knives.
dark daggers,
Ooh, I like
and
that.
problem fixed. Not necessarily, but yeah. I still feel like it might get destroyed because it's like it holds too much power and like real power, but also like
I'm
uh
okay with that too.
responsibility power. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like it holds too much tradition. If they're going to actually change and rebuild Mandalore and rebuild their culture, that feels like something that just can't be a part of it because it represents one true leader.
Yeah.
But we could get past that. Who knows?
No, I like that too. The idea of taking the dark saber, breaking it down, and reforging it into a new symbol, because that I think that fits in with the themes really well. That Din and the Children of the Watch are very much like the old ways are the way, and it's like, are they? They're old ways, and they may have been great back then. And I said this today, that traditions and laws and symbols are all good, but you can't hold to them, especially if they're thousands of years old, and pretend that they're like still as valuable. You need to analyze them and say, does this still work for today? And change it and adapt it if it doesn't.
Mhm.
And so I think that would be a great symbol of that, of like, the dark saber was really cool 7,000 years ago, but we should do something different.
Yeah. And there's a difference between tradition and like just being stuck in old ways without any room to grow, because we know the Mandalorians are split, and you have the Children of the Watch who are like super strict, and then you have like Bo-Katan and the people that we saw with her that are like, oh, you keep your helmet on, boo, that's lame. But now they left Bo-Katan because she didn't have the Darksaber. So like,
Exactly.
what, you can't just like pick and choose which hardcore traditions you're going to support
Yep.
because
totally
that's
agree.
what you want to do.
They all go like, oh, he's one of them. He thinks that he has to keep his helmet on. And then 8 episodes later, they're like, Bo-Katan doesn't have the magic sword. Goodbye. Come on.
Yeah. Anyways.
Get it together. Get it together, Mandalorians.
They will. They will. Let's see.
This doesn't bode well, but I already have to take a restroom break. So I'm going to run and do that.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and read this next super chat from Scotty Heron. Thank you so much, Scotty. Waiting to watch the episode tonight with my girlfriend, but very excited to watch the stream after. Hoping it's as good as the excellent Bad Batch episode, which I did watch earlier this morning. Thanks so much. I hope you're having fun in the future rewatching this after we're live. Yeah, I feel like, so we were lucky enough to see the Bad Batch episodes early and this episode a little bit early. We're probably not going to see any of the other ones early, but going into today, I was like, man, I don't know which one of these I would pick to watch first, because the Bad Batch episode was really good too. And like, there's a lot to talk about for that episode, but we're going to cover all the Bad Batch talk in tomorrow's live stream. We're kind of combining Bad Batch and Lego live streams. So we have lots and lots to talk about in tomorrow's stream too. But thank you so much. Alex will like this one. Cassia Pidgeot, thanks so much for the next super chat. Couldn't stop thinking they'd say Mines of Moria instead of Mandalore. Also, as a lesbian, I'm simping hard for Bo-Katan, a true International Women's Day gift. You know what? I didn't even think about the fact that we got such an incredible performance from Katie Sackhoff, and it's International Women's Day. We're thriving. Star Wars is thriving. And I totally agree. Like, I have fallen hard for Bo-Katan. She has always been such an important character to me, but like, there's a reason that I drew her with the Darksaber. That was just such an incredible moment. I'll wait for Alex to get back so he can see the same message. I already read this, but I had to leave it up for you because...
I don't know why that happened. I don't know. But I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Just because it said Mines of Moria.
Oh, yeah, I kept thinking that too. Who's not simping hard for Bo-Katan, frankly?
I think we all are. And
she's got a great strut.
Oh. Don't... Where's my fan? I would love to cosplay as her, like, for real. But I don't have a 3D printer. I don't know where to make armor.
Our friend already made like all the armor. It'll be huge on you, but you could just...
I'll just borrow his.
Yeah.
No, that would be a huge project for me, and like probably so overwhelming. But if someone wanted to help me, maybe. I'd have to get a wig though, because I'm not cutting my hair again.
Yeah, you had the hair. You had the perfect hair for a while.
I did. I lost my chance.
I see Lindsey Brown with the next super chat. Thank you, Lindsey. Nice to watch The Mandalorian after the Bad Batch. Ooh, interesting. After some Imperial oppression, got to wash that out with some good, wholesome Grogu fun. Honestly, yeah, that would have been the way to watch him today.
Yeah. I mean, I guess so, because I don't know. I'd be afraid that all the excitement from the Mandalorian episode would overshadow Bad Batch, but like Bad Batch was such an important episode for an important character.
The past 2 weeks have been great. Just two of the best episodes of the Bad Batch. Also, the Mandalorian is back. Super fun. But yeah, Molly was talking. She was editing both of the reactions today for Patreon, and our Mandalorian one was like so exciting, and we were just like, oh my gosh, this, that, clap, 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 and then and then watching the Bad Batch, we were just like, oh god.
Granted, that was a couple weeks ago, and we had already watched and reacted to one episode, and we were watching that one. But yeah, you can see it on our faces. We're just watching like very intently. It's not that it's boring. We're just kind of
Oh
like,
no, it's just like intense in
yeah.
a
Sometimes we just
heavy
don't want
episode.
to. Yeah, sometimes we just don't want to talk over anything because we're like, what's gonna happen next? It
Yeah.
was so good. But tomorrow, we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Oh yeah, all Bad Batch tomorrow. But I agree that Grogu, some good wholesome Grogu fun, will really wash away the taste of Lieutenant Nolan.
His little
That guy.
flips. His little flips and his little grumbles and his little concerned looks.
Yeah, I agree with Andy. That it's weird that the animated show is the darker, more intense one this week.
Yep. I mean, we got dark and intense in Andor, so I feel like this is a good switch up for like lots of excitement and cuteness.
Garth McMurray has our next super chat. Thank you, Garth. I saw Star Wars in '77 in theaters, so I loved seeing R5D4 back again 46 years later. I wanted Bo-Katan to hesitate handing the Darksaber back to Din. I would have too, but I was so happy for R5D4. I love the way that he was in season 1 for like a shot. In season 2, he was called R5, and now it's straight up R5D4. It is the same droid, which they made that pretty clear, I think, in the past. But just knowing that it's that same droid, and here he is,
in all of his
9 years later, going on adventures with Din and Grogu, and I love that he's kind of a coward, but he's still brave. He still goes on the adventure.
Yeah. I don't know that. I mean, he might be a little bit of a coward, but he strikes me more as like, I'm too old for this ish. Like, I've seen enough. I've done enough. I'm too old.
I think all the noises he was making, the shaking and the backing away, to me, that's showing fear. But he's brave because he goes anyway. He goes into the mines. I still think he's a brave little boy.
Yeah. Oh, and then that connects to Grogu because Din says like, don't be a baby. And I immediately thought of like what Grogu thought of that comment. Because
yeah, excuse you?
He's a baby and I can knock you out.
Yeah.
And then later when Grogu was with Bo-Katan, she says, I know you're frightened, but I need you to guide me to where Din is. And then Grogu's like, you're right. I can do it.
I love that little moment. He turns his little flashlight on. He's like, let's go.
Let's go.
I don't know why. He's in his pram, but like, I feel like that he had a marching attitude.
Mm-hmm. I think that was his way of like, I don't know that he felt safe enough with Bo-Katan until she started talking to him a little bit more, talking about Mandalore, and then saying like, I know you're frightened, but we got to go do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was oh, they're bonding.
One of my favorite moments is that Bo-Katan gets off her chair to go yell at Din and just be like, would you leave me alone? But the second she's like, oh, he's in trouble. Like, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
Immediately wants to help.
I can't remember if I brought this up already or not, but I like the idea that Grogu and Bo-Katan bond over having this amazing home where they grew up and then having it completely torn apart and destroyed.
Yeah.
So like when Bo-Katan is telling the story of how that happened, he's probably thinking about the temple and being torn away from all that. So I think after that, he started to trust her more.
Yeah. I loved all of the little moments they had, little conversations they shared as they found Din. And then they just kept having a walk and talk. And I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. Aiden L, thanks for the next super chat. How would you rank Ezra, Ahsoka, Luke, and Cal from best lightsaber duelist to worst?
Well, Cal's the best when he's under my control.
That's true. Cal fights however you fight.
Uh-huh.
Which for me is pretty sloppy.
Running off cliffs. Yes, Cal is at the bottom and top of the list. So honestly, I mean, like, I feel like it's impossible to rank Cal in this because Cal is just the player.
If I had to, which we've talked about this before, we don't really like ranking characters best to worst or lightsaber duels best to worst, whatever.
Duelists, I don't mind.
But in this scenario, I think Ahsoka has had the most practice, the most training from the best people.
We are talking, it depends on the period. And like even Dave Filoni said something about that in the Book of Boba Fett. That at this point in time, like Ahsoka's the more experienced Jedi. She would be the better duelist. I think at the time of the Mandoverse, I would go Ahsoka, Luke, Ezra.
Just omitting Cal.
Like, I mean, Cal is... I already said Cal's the best because I'd be controlling him.
Yeah.
But like, we've never seen Cal just outside of player control. So,
I mean, yeah, best duelist. I'm thinking of like who trained them to duel. So, going by that, I think Ahsoka, Luke, Ezra, Cal, because Cal's good with a lightsaber if you're good at playing him with a lightsaber, but how much actual training has he had with a lightsaber that we know of?
Honestly, my experience with Cal is he makes a bunch of dumb, stupid choices that get him killed. So, but also sometimes he does amazing things. It just depends on how much I had to drink that day, I guess. God, why is Cal such a stupid Jedi today?
I fight better when I drink. Yeah.
I think I drink better when I fight.
I think that would be our ranking for those. Luke is one that is kind of, not to stay too long on this, but who all has specifically trained Luke to use a lightsaber?
Right.
He's probably had a lot of practice, but who's telling him that he's right or wrong? Nobody.
Obi-Wan instructed him one time, then he died. In a book, he went and he trained with some remotes. Like, I think Ahsoka got way more lightsaber training.
Yeah.
So I don't mind ranking duelists. I don't like ranking Jedi in the Force. Like, who's the most powerful Jedi? And it's like, well,
yeah,
it kind of depends. It literally does depend on the day and how they're feeling and how centered and balanced they are. And like in real life, some days I wake up and I have a lot of anxiety, and some days I don't. And so it just depends on the day.
There was that ridiculous list that came out. I think it was Screen Rant that put it out. We talked about it over on POV, but I had a hard time talking about that because I was like, this is stupid. This list of like most powerful to least powerful. Who says who?
I always think that it's kind of like trying to force a Star Wars shaped box into a Dragon Ball Z shaped circle, where like
Yeah.
this is you're comparing different things, and Dragon Ball Z made it very like numerical, and everyone has power levels, and they go up as you train and fight or whatever. It's like that's not the Force. It's a completely different thing.
Like, yeah, Jedi don't earn different color belts as they get more training. So, like, there's no real way to
Yeah, I mean,
rank them.
you get your Jedi Knight, your Jedi Master, and all that, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect all the time. And it doesn't
Yeah,
mean that you're not going to have bad days. It doesn't mean you're not going to become Darth Tyrannus. Like,
right. And Anakin definitely would have argued that as a Jedi Knight, he was more powerful and better with a lightsaber than a lot of other people.
oh yeah, he claimed he rivaled Master Yoda, which maybe he did.
Anyways, we can move on. We could talk about that forever.
Literal Table 756, thank you for the next super chat. Could IG-11 become the new Marshal of Navarro? If Din still somehow finds an IG memory chip, they could reprogram him for that. I do think the memory chip is going to happen.
You do?
Yes. I just don't understand why they went through a lot of trouble in the first episode to be like, we can rebuild IG-11 and this is what we need to do it. And then yeah, Din goes and fails to find that part. So the fact that he did that has me scratching my head like, well then why did they waste all that time setting up IG-11 if he's just going to go to Tatooine and buy the first droid he sees? Like, I do think the Anzellans are going to rebuild IG-11.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this last week. He still hasn't gone to that droid bar. So
Right.
there's still hope that, yeah, he will come across somebody who knows how to get one of these chips.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that idea because, like, we talked about Cobb Vanth or who, like, what was the other character, the bald guy?
Oh, Mayfield.
Mayfield. Yeah, we talked about him maybe, but if they can fix IG-11, I like that idea because Grief has kind of a relationship there.
I guess.
Sort of. He knew
yeah,
him.
he knows him.
Briefly.
Yeah.
He died to protect Grogu and kind of the town.
Yeah. I'd be okay with that. I like IG-11, so
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I guess I would always be kind of scared that he would somehow
Would
go
revert
back to his... Maybe, okay, I trust that the Anzellans can completely wipe that off of him.
So it sounds like his memory chip, which held all of his like reprogramming, that was damaged, so they need a new one, and that'll just restore his memories. I'm going to guess that's the case.
Yeah. And maybe they'll find a way to just wipe all the bounty hunter stuff off of it so that that's not an option.
I'm going to just bring this up because it's relevant, but thank you, Char P, for the super chat. R5D4 IG-11 Buddy Cop Droid spinoff. Yay. I read literally like every word of that out of order. So.
I love that idea. I need Grief Karga to find a way to be in it too, because I think that'd be hilarious.
I always want to put B2 Emo with droids, but I'd love to see IG-11 and B2 Emo. Like if they were, especially in a buddy cop situation, I'm trying to imagine B2 Emo like interrogating someone. He's the good cop, obviously.
Yeah. I feel like IG-11 would get tired of him always complaining about needing to recharge.
I think that's true as well.
JL Wireman, thank you for the next super chat. Did anyone else get Ragul, Kotor, Swotor vibes from the creatures that attacked Mando in the cave? Did I say that right?
Ragul, yeah.
Ragul.
Ragul. Ragul. You're saying it Ragul like it's Italian.
Ragule. Sorry. I don't know why I did that.
Not really, because those were like the little like spines on its back, the spikes that it kind of had. I guess a little bit. But honestly, the reason I leaned forward in the first place was because I thought it might be a basilisk war droid, and I was like, "Are we doing this? This is crazy." And then I didn't know what it was.
Because that didn't that come up in the last stream?
Yeah, someone was like, "Do you think we're gonna see a basilisk war droid?" And I was like, "No." And so then we see this big like monstrosity droid pop out. It was like, "Oh my god, are we?"
That would be nuts.
But other than it just being creepy, I didn't really get war droid or Rakghoul vibes from it.
Sorry, I'm like trying to catch up over here. Find the next one.
Okay, I'll read the next one from Alexander Kent. Thank you, Alexander, and cool name. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge Clone Wars fan. That said, who is Bo-Katan's father? I know who her sister was, but the father is who? Don't know.
Yeah, see, this is why I need to brush up on all of the history that we know so far, because I heard that and I was like, oh, I guess we know about him. I don't remember that, but yeah.
That's always my first instinct, and where I'm just like, oh God, what am I forgetting? And then I hop online to make sure. I'm like, nope, I have no idea. We have not met her father yet. That is the farthest back in Bo-Katan's history that we've ever been.
Maybe they did that for a reason so that no one could be like, oh, they didn't do that right. They didn't explain that right. They didn't do this or that. Like, they were like, who haven't we seen yet? Let's have her talk about them.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen or heard about any of Bo-Katan or Satine's parents. So them just saying like, yep, I took the creed as a child, which again, I just see that as like a baptism of just you're saying words. It's exactly like the kid in the first episode of the season of just you're saying a bunch of words you don't understand at a young age, and everyone claps for you, and like that shapes so much of your life. That so I just think she went through that same kind of experience.
Yeah.
Tycho Murner. Oh,
I was just gonna say they're bound to go against all that at some point and question it when they get indoctrinated so young.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't join a militant group like Death Watch.
Yep, we all make mistakes.
Tycho Murner has the next super chat. Thank you. They should have named the first part of this episode Grogu Come Home compared to the Clone Wars episode R2 Come Home. I've seen multiple people talk about this episode in relationship to that one, where Anakin and Mace Windu are trapped, and Anakin sends R2 to go get the Jedi to help them. Very fun.
What? I don't remember that one super well.
It's when Boba Fett is trying to kill Mace Windu, and so he makes a Star Destroyer crash, and then Mace and Anakin are stuck in the Star Destroyer.
Gotcha. Grogu was so cute in this one. He was so brave.
He's a brave little boy.
Everyone
we all
was
agree.
Everyone was being very brave in this episode, and we should celebrate that. R5 was being brave. Bo-Katan was being brave, leaving her depression throne. Din, I guess, was being brave. He was just very like, I'm gonna do this. We're here. I might as well. I gotta do this.
I think you're right. A lot of characters were being brave this week.
Good for them. The one who cannot smell. Thanks for the next super chat. Bo-Katan, what's that boy? Din is in a well. Oh, what's that
what's
boy?
that boy? I had the same thought of basic Grogu being like Lassie.
Oh.
Where is he? Din got trapped in the mine. Let's go save him.
Take me to him. Yeah. Like you said, Bo-Katan was ready to go off on Din for coming back. Like, leave me alone, you jerk. And then she sees it's just Grogu and she's like, what happened? Take me to him. Yeah. She cares.
She's a softie deep down.
Mm-hmm. You old softie.
I want to back up because I saw people in the chat correcting us. When we were talking about the Rakghoul, they meant the creatures, the Alamites, the actual living organic creatures that attack them.
Well, I didn't play KOTOR or SWTOR, so I don't know.
That makes so much more sense, and I'm sorry for misunderstanding that. That's why I wanted to bring it back up. That they did kind of have just something survived here. Rakghoul, the Rakghoul plague was like an illness that turned people into weird creatures. So I don't think the Alamites are like the Rakghoul. I don't think it was a sickness because Bo-Katan said that she knew what they were. She was like, they lived out in the wastelands.
Yeah.
So
wastelands is the key word there. Like they were already scavenging in wastelands. So yeah, they could probably thrive in this world.
They're probably like the Tusken Raiders of Mandalore in that Din just killed a bunch of innocent people that are just trying to survive.
Oh boy.
But I just wanted to back up and correct us on that because I was way off.
Okay, if we're gonna take a little mini break here, I want to address. I don't know that there's a super chat about this. If there is, I apologize, but I've seen a lot of people asking, has Grogu spoken words? I didn't hear him speak any words. He made a couple of different sounds.
Peli claimed he did. I didn't hear anything.
But Peli claims a lot of things. Like exactly. I think she just says what she wants to hear. And like I said earlier, Peli is all of us holding Grogu. Like, did you just talk? Oh my god.
Yeah, the fandom has been waiting for that.
No, he didn't say any real words.
Not that I noticed. I don't think we watched it with. Oh no, we watched it with subtitles today.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a big, obvious deal when he says an actual word.
Yeah, I don't remember watching anything in the subtitles and being like, there's his first word. I do think it'll be like Grogu says Jedi or Grogu says Peli. Like,
yeah, they're not gonna sneak that one in secretly, kind of like silently. No,
I agree.
Yeah, he does make a little like sound that's like a do, but like I think that's just a baby sound. A do.
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh, you know what that is? That's the sound of a blaster. He knows that sound. He's heard it a lot, so he's like, "Ba-doo, ba-doo." Yeah, I don't know. That's a baby sound.
I mean, he's heard it a lot, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Grogu's first words will be, not the mama.
Not the mama. Yeah.
I love dinosaurs, by the way. I watched that show growing up all the time.
Same. Yeah. WC1376C, thanks for the next super chat. Bo will help Din to use the Darksaber. Yeah, Bo will help Din to use the Darksaber. Maybe. I mean, he needs the help. And like I said earlier, maybe after having bathed in his magic water, maybe he'll be better at it and it won't be such a burden for him.
I do think that that is an interesting possibility, that he was feeling guilty about removing his helmet. He didn't feel worthy of the Darksaber, but now he's hopped in the living waters. He did what his religious leader told him to do. So will that affect him or not? Will he feel like, I am worthy of this? Or will he be like, why is this still heavy? I think that's a cool thing to play with.
Mm-hmm.
David Canyo is bringing back a super chat from last week. Well, we finally seen Din whip it out. LOL. We did. And everyone cheered. I cheered. Finally, Din whipped it out.
Yeah. But he's not good with it. It's he's clumsy. He's a little clumsy. He doesn't know what to do with it, which, it's okay. He hasn't used it much. He might not know what to do with it. He needs help.
I can't tell if you're trying to say innuendo or not. It all
works. It all works. He's got to learn somehow.
Practice makes perfect. Why is it so heavy?
Do your research.
Jane Dalton has the next super chat. Thank you, Jane. Do y'all think Bo-Katan's father was part of Death Watch? Because Bo implied that Satine was an embarrassment to him. Oh, interesting. So I went the opposite direction, but I like what you're saying. So when Bo-Katan said that her father died defending Mandalore, my thought was that maybe he died in that civil war where Satine had to go on the run. So I thought maybe he died, like Death Watch killed him.
But you did say maybe he was part of Death Watch.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Oh, I thought you did when we were doing our commentary.
No, I was saying that I think Death Watch may have killed him, and that he was protecting Satine. But that is an interesting take. That I like.
Jane said in the chat, she essentially said, "I'm not the one who embarrassed him to everyone."
That I really like that take, and I did not hear that the way that you did, but I think that's smart. That Bo-Katan that's really good, Jane. That's really smart. That Bo-Katan walked into the waters, said the creed, and Satine may have made a big show about not taking the creed, and she may have said, fuck, this makes so much sense.
Satine, gonna drop an F-bomb.
I'm sorry, like Jane, it was a fuh. Satine was always about trying to help Mandalore evolve and grow beyond the warrior past. So, yeah. If Bo-Katan walked in, took the creed, Satine did not take the creed. But then how did Satine get power, I guess is my question. Like, Satine becomes the Duchess while her father is still alive. I think Jane is right, but
they shunned them, didn't they?
Shunned who?
Death Watch.
Well, yeah, after they beat them. So basically, Satine wanted Mandalorians to become pacifists, and Death Watch was like, no. Death Watch and their half of Mandalore. So Mandalorians basically split, and they were like, no, we should stay warriors and conquerors, and we should take what's ours through violence. And Satine said no, and they fought. And then Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon protected Satine on the run for a year, and weirdly, the pacifists won. Then Death Watch was kind of like the remainder. They put Death Watch on Concordia on the moon, and they were like, you just stay there, we'll let you live. And then they just kept on being militant while no one really watched them. But that's really smart, Jane.
I see Char P in the chat said that she had support from the Jedi, meaning Satine, or meaning...
Well, Satine at least had Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon protecting her. I don't remember if like a bunch of other Jedi swooped in to help.
Yeah, but that is true. Like, if you have the support of the Jedi, people might be like, well, how are we going to compete with that?
Yeah. I mean, I think there were a decent number of Mandalorians who agreed with Satine, but there were enough that did not agree that there was a civil war. But man, that would be interesting if Bo-Katan saying he died defending Mandalore is her saying he died defending the old ways.
Yeah, it's hard to know how deep into this Mandalorian lore they're gonna go. But knowing that Dave Filoni is involved, they could go real deep and go into this exact theory. Or I'm just afraid that it's going to be too confusing for people to go the other way. I don't know. I'm sure they could explain it. Maybe we'll get a whole episode that's a big old flashback, and then no one will be confused.
Well, I think there are things that they can reveal in this show that will teach new fans about Mandalore, and also will reveal answers to questions that old fans have had for a while. And this is a good one. Like, I did not interpret that line at all the way Jane did, but I prefer the way Jane interpreted it. I think that's
Get
better.
ready for the video, Jane.
Yeah, I might do it.
I could see the wheels turning.
The schedule's full, Molly. I don't know where I'd put it, but maybe.
We always have time. Make it a short.
I can't say all that in a minute. That took like 8 minutes just now. What?
I knew that would make you mad. I've been pushing shorts because that's what the algorithm wants.
That's what YouTube wants. I
can't.
No. YouTube, I can't say all that in a minute.
I have too much to say.
It's gonna take 3 hours.
Short, part 1, part 2, part 3. They do that on TikTok. We might be onto something. Anyways, we're falling way behind.
Oh my god.
Our super chats are back to 651. So
yeah, the one who cannot smell. Thank you for another one. I'm glad they made the mythosaur look like the skull and not just a generic dinosaur. Yeah, I think the original one just looked kind of like a dragon or a dinosaur. It just, I'll pull up a picture of it if people haven't seen it, but I really liked the new look.
I do too. Well, and then all you really need to make it work are the big old tusks, whatever those are, and like the basic shape of the head, which it was kind of hard to tell from what we saw in this episode, but we saw the tusk. So I think that definitely helps.
I can't pull up an image of it because it's a WebP file. Stupid WebP.
Only Adobe Premiere can handle those right now.
Yeah, but just look at the Star Wars Legends article for the Mythosaur, and you'll see what one looks like, and it's just kind of like, yeah.
It was in the holiday special, right?
No,
it wasn't that big dinosaur thing.
You've said that in multiple live streams.
Don't listen to me.
Still no.
Star Wars kind of knows it. That's me. That's me. Anyways.
But yeah, I love the new look.
Star Orange 36, thanks for the next super chat. Bo-Katan was so cynical reading that plaque. Do you think Satine took the creed more seriously? So did she take it more seriously or less seriously? I don't know.
See, now I think
do like the idea that Bo-Katan took it seriously at one point because she talked about being royalty and people showering her with gifts, which as a young person, you're probably like, yeah, give me them gifts. But yeah, I could definitely see her reading that, knowing what she's gone through, knowing what she knows now, just looking back and being like, this didn't work out, so I'm going to be cynical about it.
Well, I think she probably took it seriously. Again, and Jane's question is changing my perspective on this, but I think she probably did take it seriously, or else she wouldn't join Death Watch. And the children of the Watch spawned from Death Watch. Like they have to have. And we saw Death Watch picking up Din and taking him away. So she is connected to the children of the Watch. She is connected to the old ways. So I do really like the idea that at one point she said those words as a child, didn't understand them. She stayed with the religion through the Clone Wars until she was like, hold on now, this is affecting like my family. And she tried to save Satine's life and failed. But I think Satine probably did embarrass her father by not taking the creed seriously or by refusing to take it. I think that is the best read of that sentence.
I don't know. Having a sibling and knowing what that's like growing up, I think Bo-Katan could have still just joined Death Watch just because, like, just knowing the direction that Satine was going. I don't think that necessarily means she took the creed that much more seriously. I think she just maybe wanted to go in the exact opposite direction just to differentiate herself from her seemingly perfect sibling that everybody showers with praise. Like, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, Satine's this little goody two shoes that everyone loves, but man, I don't know. These are all great, like super deep cut nerdy questions that I'm like, they actually might answer this. They actually might dive into it. And I think it's great. And that's the whole episode. I just found myself more intrigued with Bo-Katan than I ever have. And I already really liked her, but I was just like listening to her talk. I was going, what drove her to join Death Watch? And what why? I want to know more about her history because we just never got that far into the past with it, and her talking about her father and that her father was proud and Din once would have liked to have met him, and Bo-Katan becoming enthralled with his own passion for what he was doing. I'm just very interested in her history. The end.
The end. I am too. I apologized in the chat already for not seeing this before Tony left, but General Overall sent another super chat. Thank you so much. Want to come play drums at the Green Turtle in Fernandina Beach, Florida? Tony? I'm sure he would love to play there. I don't want to.
That's probably up to the whole band. I don't know how that works.
Speak for him, but maybe.
We had a super chat from our friend YHC Tower that had no message, and I did not see him send another one in. But if he's still here and he sends one in, keep an eye out.
Okay.
But he's got a great channel and reviews books of all kinds, including Star Wars books.
Nice.
And we hang out at Dragon Con every year, and he's cool. So everyone should check him out. Kitty has the next one that says, "What are y'all's other Star Wars ships? Share with the class."
Oh.
I already said my top ship is Cal and Marin.
Yeah, I think it could work. I haven't finished Battle Scars yet, so I'm going to save my opinion on Cal and Marin until after I finish that. What are my other ships? Oh, Finn and Poe, obviously.
Love them together in any capacity.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I never really think about that until someone else brings one up, and I will either be like, yes, I support that, or maybe not.
I don't consider myself a big shipper at all. Like the reason I cling to Cal and Marin is because playing the game, I was like, you two got it going on. That was one of the first times that I was like, hold on now. These
Yeah.
two belong together. So I just don't think about most stories that way, frankly. But when it pops out, then I will grasp it. If it doesn't happen, I'll be okay. But I like Cal Marin.
Yeah. I think it's possible.
I think the ship name is Jedi Knight, which is
Oh, I get it.
it's a good name.
Night Sister.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I like that. If you want to hear more about amazing ships, go to Pink Milk.
Yeah.
They have some of the best.
I was also going to suggest listening to, if you like Cal and Marin, listen to my interview with Sam Maggs about Battle Scars, because it was super fun. She is awesome. Was one of the most fun interviews I've ever done, because she was just so enthusiastic and passionate, loves Marin, loves Cal. It was so fun.
Good times. Dylan Compton has the next super chat. The Mando cyborg is what became of Crosshair.
Oh no! I hope
is that his good eye?
That's it. Wasn't the one with the tattoo on it, so no.
Oh no!
Oh,
I really
no.
hope not.
I'm the Stein has the next one. Thank you. Do you think the cyborg is a Geonosian that survived? Also, I'm sorry, Molly, but you're wrong about Den and Bo.
Oh,
Why don't you respond to that first?
I might be. That's okay. I don't get mad when people tell me I'm wrong about my guesses, because, like, I don't care if I'm wrong.
We're wrong all the time.
We're wrong.
We're used to it.
But I support everyone who does support Den and Bo, because all you need is love.
Isn't it just weird? Like Dinbo, Finpo, it's basically the same.
Cue the X-Files music.
Doodle-doodle. What does it mean?
Actually,
is it a Geonosian? I don't think it's. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I don't know. I kind of got the vibe from the way the eyeball looked and like the noises it was making. I see where they're coming from. It was doing some
just
clicky
a lot
noises.
of like metallic, clicking around. I don't think a Geonosian made its way to Mandalore only to get bombed again.
Well, no, not the metallic things clicking around, just like it made noises.
Why, I thought whatever noises it made was from metal. It didn't have a mouth.
I don't know. It could be bubbles.
What? It could be bubbles.
Maybe he has a mouth somewhere.
We need a graphic or something, a little video to play that just says like, all right, it's been 2.5 hours and Molly and Alex have lost it. It could be bubbles. That was the moment. 2 hours and 18 minutes in.
There could be lips on the back of that eyeball. We don't know.
Sure.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know what species it was.
All right, we are going to try to pick up the pace here a little bit, because we've fallen quite behind, and
we're also going insane.
And we're starting to lose it. So let's do this.
Hashtag it could be bubbles.
Oh, you read this one earlier.
Yeah, I did. So the next one is from Garth McMurray. Thank you, Garth. Bo had blankets on the throne. Is she sleeping there?
She's basically like sleeping on the couch, just not leaving, watching TV all the time. I get it. Yeah.
I say yes.
She's too depressed to even get in a bed. She's like, I'm just staying here.
If people have not seen the TikTok from the account name, I believe is Discount Bo-Katan, and it's about Bo seeing Din flying in and like frantically putting her armor on and then going to try to quote casually sit in her chair. It's very funny.
Mhm.
But you know what? Yeah, I think she sleeps there.
I feel like she's got to have some kind of sick surround sound projector thing that comes down when no one's looking, and she's just like catching up on all the shows that she's been wanting to watch for literally years / rotations, whatever they call them.
I'm struggling to remember. We made a joke about the Great British Bake Off, and I can't remember which planet we put there in its place. And was it Great Chandrillan Bake Off or something?
I don't
I'm just
remember.
imagining her binging Great British Bake Off, but
Mhm.
it's got to be called something else. And I know we made this joke, and I can't remember what we said.
Is it
But it should be
hosted by
canon.
one of those cook droids? That's got to be a co-host.
I think we said Paul Coruscant would be the host.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Paul Hollywood of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Whose name is still Paul.
Uh-huh. But Coruscant instead of Hollywood.
Yeah. We did kind of go over this one a couple times already. Jorlis Renge, thank you for the super chat. Do you think it might be a Basilisk war droid? Maybe.
I don't think so. It didn't look big enough to me. But that is
go ahead.
When it first popped out of the ground, and in my reaction, you see me lean forward. I was like, "Is that a war droid? Are we seeing a Basilisk war droid?" And I was like, "No." It more reminded me of those like assassin spider droids from the Clone Wars Mandalore arc that then like popped out smaller spider droids.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that.
I think if it was one of these, Bo-Katan would have known what it was and called it what it is. She seemed kind of freaked out by it too, though, so I don't think she knew what it was.
Yeah, she didn't seem bothered by it at all. She was like, "Oh
she
yeah,
had the Darksaber. She was like, "Come at me, bro."
If I were both of them, I would have been like, "What the hell was that?" And then the other one would be like, "I have no idea." And they're like, "Well, I guess we'll go to the mines. Here's some soup." What?
Some electrolyte soup.
Good old Pog soup. Miguel Sotelo, thank you for the next super chat. My prediction is that Grogu will be the one to tame the Mythosaur, as he will use the Force to calm it down, or be the key that helps Din take control of it. I think that's very possible.
I brought that up in last week's stream because of that exact reason, that he was able to tame the Rancor. All he needs to do is come nose to nose to it and give it a little boop. And then the Mythosaur will be like, "You're right, I need a nap."
The Rancor moment does seem like it could come back into play, of just showing that Grogu can calm these beasts down. I agree.
Garth McMurray, thanks for another super chat. Din will do a TikTok video dancing in the water. That will be his proof.
I might find just a picture of some guy at a beach, like taking a selfie, and then slap Din's helmet on it and be like, that's his text to the armor. Would be like, "I did it."
He's gonna find a postcard somewhere. Greetings from the healing waters of Mandalore.
From the living waters of Mandalore. Wish you were here.
Yeah.
Ty Williams, thank you for the next super chat. Hi, Alex and Molly. Quick speculation, but do you think that Palpatine sent Vader to lead the destruction of Mandalore with Moff Gideon? Maybe.
Vader sent Palpatine sent Vader to lead the destruction with Moff Gideon.
Maybe.
I don't see Vader and Moff Gideon working together as equals.
Oh, they wouldn't be. Well, at that point, maybe. Because Vader at that point is not the Vader that we see in The Empire Strikes Back. The Vader at that point would have been the Vader that has Tarkin holding his leash. So it's possible that they could have both gone. I don't know. It depends on if Palpatine thinks that Vader is needed for that. But that does seem like a very high profile job for him. Like Vader has this status as like a boogeyman at that point of just, oh, if you do something bad, this Darth Vader character might come for you.
Yeah, I don't think either of them would have wanted to be a part of this or like lead this charge. / like they probably were like, we don't want to get involved. They're taking care of it themselves. I mean, the Empire did destroy the planet, right?
Yeah, I mean, bombed it to hell,
and that seems like something that the Emperor was just like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, it does seem like they just bombed the planet, and I don't know that they needed to do anything else.
Yeah.
But if we find out that Vader was there, cool.
We just talked about this, but WC1376C says, yo, Grogu is going to tame the mythosaur. We would love to see.
Yeah. Francisco Gios, thank you for the next one. Do we know how heavy Beskar is? I mean, Din sunk real fast. By the time Bo-Katan dived in to save Din, he was already at the bottom. See, my first viewing of the episode, I thought something grabbed him and pulled him in. But I think the general consensus seems to be that he just took a step too far and fell to the bottom. And I'm like, yeah, that seems like a Din thing to do.
It does kind of track with how clumsily he's been going about all of this. But do mythosaurs have like grabby hands?
Little grabbers?
Little
we don't know.
Tendrils or like, I don't know.
We don't know.
I was thinking when he started to take stuff off, I was like, oh, is he going to take off all of his armor? But he went in with almost all of his armor on, and yeah, I assume just
what if he took
to the bottom,
like everything off but the helmet? Molly, calm yourself. Calm yourself. I mean, that would have been the smarter move.
No one would have minded.
He took his jetpack off and then dove into water with a bunch of Beskar. So yeah, I do think that it's heavy. And he just fell to the bottom. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
Are you still thinking about Din and just a helmet?
Maybe. I'm distracted. Now I'm thinking I should do a different drawing.
You can't. You've already done one dirty drawing for the Bad Batch. You can't do.
I know. I shouldn't do it. For International Women's Day, though, come on.
You can draw that for yourself.
I don't see a message for this one, but Benjamin, thank you so much for the super chat. If I find one in the chat, or if you're still here, let me know. Now keep an eye out. And Jane's got another one here for Alex to think on.
Do y'all think Ursa Wren might show up as a prominent Mandalorian family head, former night owl, and might have been around the same age as Bo's father and probably knew him? I want to say no.
I just thought of something. I know Jane's been rewatching all the Mandalore stuff from Clone Wars and Rebels, or at least Rebels, because she tweeted about it. So I'm like, okay, this makes sense now.
She could. I'm going to guess no, but, you know, Cobb Vanth means anyone could show up. But right now I feel like they're doing so much with just Bo-Katan that I hope they focus on her. and expand her story a little more. And the fact that Katie Sackhoff is listed as a star of this show now, I've got high hopes.
Ooh, someone in the chat said, Cam D'Amelio said Michelle Yao for Ursa Ren.
Ooh, I like that.
That would be dope. Love that. Darth Nicholas, what's up? Thanks for the next super chat. We only had to wait 43 years to finally see the mythosaur go from being a symbol on Boba Fett's shoulder pad that initially meant nothing to most viewers to having its first physical appearance in any Star Wars content.
You know, the first time we saw any records of a mythosaur, they were mythosaur
was the holiday
bones.
special.
No.
I'm kidding.
There were mythosaur bones in a theme park that was on Mandalore in the old Marvel Star Wars comics. Marvel issue 69, I think.
Wait, in a theme park?
Yeah. A theme
on
park
Mandalore.
on Mandalore. It was called Bone City.
Oh my god. It's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah,
it's
the
Mandalorian
is Mickey Mouse. It's just real big.
Somewhere under one of the Disney parks is a bunch of water, and there's a huge Mickey Mouse living down there.
Now I'm double checking my research. I was just looking this stuff up earlier today, but the fact that it first appeared in a theme park called Bone City in Star Wars issue 69 sounds... Nope, that is correct. Okay. City of Bone. The City of Bone. I had that slightly wrong. Is that better? I don't know.
At this point, we've already taken it there in our minds. So, City of Bones. I don't know.
Star Wars, what are you doing?
What are you doing to us? This was Marvel, though. You said Marvel Comics, right?
Yeah, it's still Star Wars.
Yeah. But they can get
Star Wars issue 69 from like the old Marvel run.
They can get away with a lot more in the comics. Ooh, okay. Moving on.
Back then, I don't think they knew what they were doing. Today, someone would be like, hey, guys, it's issue 69. I don't think we should have a place called the City of Bone in it. And back then, they were like, let's just write whatever.
Thank you, Bones McCoy, for the next super chat. Shout out to Molly gaining fun new Q&A edit skills.
You're doing great.
Every day I learn a new way to do something the hard way. I would cry for anyone who had to actually watch me edit, because I probably do things so slow and so roundabout. But you know what? As long as I get there, it's fine.
You're doing a great job. And it's been a huge help to me.
Alex cringes anytime he has to find a file on my computer, because
your computer is a mess.
They're just everywhere.
You live like a crazy person, but it's okay. I don't have to deal with it.
I mean, look at my clothes. It's the same. the way I live my life is just everywhere. It's just everywhere. But I know where it is most of the time.
You always make fun of me because I ask where the scissors are, but that's because you moved the scissors, and I don't know where the scissors are.
I'm not always the one that moves them, though. And if you noticed, I put like 5 pairs of scissors downstairs.
I wonder how long they'll stay there. They're going to spread around the house.
It was during Christmas, because I kept finding scissors throughout the house while I was like wrapping presents and stuff. So I gathered them all up and I put them in one spot. So I was like, now we know where scissors are. Maybe not our favorite scissors.
I need to, where are my favorite scissors? I need to hide my own scissors somewhere.
Oh, like you did with your nail clippers? I know where those are.
Yes.
And I'll still take them.
Well, you haven't in a while, but yeah, you used to take my nail clippers and I was like, where are my favorite nail clippers. Oh God, what are we talking about?
I have my own. What? Here, they're right here. Uh-huh.
Good job. Sai123, thank you for the next super chat. Let's see where this leads us. Still don't get why they're dropping Bad Batch and Mando together, especially with those banger episodes. And happy belated birthday, Alex. Thank you, Sai123.
Oh.
I think that they just kept delaying Mando and not knowing when to drop it. I think it was supposed to come out in spring last year, like a Star Wars Insider issue said.
Mm-hmm.
And then for some reason they delayed it. And then it was like, Obi-Wan's going to come out. And then they were like, if we release it now, it'll be in the middle of Andor. And they may have wanted Andor to get the focus and not have any competition. So maybe just the way they did it, where it's like, okay, the first 10 episodes are going to come out with no interference and it'll overlap a little with The Mandalorian. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, I feel like Celebration may have had a lot to do with the positioning of when shows were going to happen or not. And so I can't help but think that the episodes that are coming out of Mandalorian during Celebration are going to be like huge deals. Cause like that just feels like something they would do. I don't know. But even though they knew the dates for Celebration for a while, I feel like even before then they were trying to figure out how to position the shows around those dates.
Yeah, maybe. And I'm like Grand Admiral and I just saw more Kitty saying like more Star Wars is always better. I agree. Like I like having two shows on at the same time. The problem is that I feel like the Bad Batch gets overshadowed. Especially when they're in the last third of the season and we had the Zillow Beast episode and we had the Outpost, and they're two fantastic episodes, but just most people really only care about the live action stuff, which is not fair. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
We've talked about it before, the fact that the diehards and the fans who they expected to be watching Bad Batch are watching it. So they probably don't feel the need to push it as much. And I think if it weren't for Mando being out, they would have pushed it a lot more because, we're getting some of the best Bad Batch episodes now that Mando is out. And that's just an unfortunate timing issue.
And I agree with this too. Like, why are we just so committed to Wednesdays? What?
I think that's a Disney thing. Like,
oh yeah. It's a Disney Plus thing.
Yeah,
I don't think Lucasfilm is saying we're a Wednesday studio only.
I think Disney Plus was like, Star Wars and Marvel, you guys get Wednesdays, period. And Star Wars,
just about everything comes out on Disney Plus on Wednesdays, right? Except if they release a film. A Disney Plus movie is on Friday.
Yeah. Okay. Then new shows are on Wednesdays. Films are on the weekends.
Yeah, but why? Like NBC doesn't say we're only putting new episodes out on Wednesdays. Like,
I don't know. I don't think, well, a subscription service doesn't have the same thought process as a cable channel and how they get views according to other shows and prime time and whatnot. Disney Plus is like, once it's out to stream at whatever time you want it.
Oh yeah. Like I don't want to pretend I know about the streaming. Like, oh, I've got this figured out. I don't, but I'm like, I kind of wish you'd just spread it out a little bit.
There are other people that are way more knowledgeable on the details behind why put all of this out on the same day, but those people are not us. So I don't know.
That's true.
But I would love to have it spread out. Although we do seem to get a lot done all in the span of a couple of days, and then we can enjoy our weekends.
Oh yeah. Part of me misses Friday Mandalorian. I did think that was a fun way to end the week, but also it's nice having it on Wednesday and being able to knock out. I did 2 review videos. I did 3 just regular content videos based off of the episodes that came out today. And then I did 4 shorts today. I did 9 videos and a live stream today. And that means I'll get to chill out a little over the weekend.
If we ever finish this live stream.
We'll see.
Which I was like, we're going to get snappy with these. Okay. Lord Hosk with the weekly Lord Hosk super chat. Something you are keeping from we? Okay, they're changing it up on us.
Uh-huh.
They're making me feel like I've had more wine than I actually have had.
I think Lord Hosk usually tries to put those like at the end of the stream. And that was an hour and 10 minutes ago. Like I feel like that's Lord Hosk's strategy. Is to pop that in near the end.
Well,
just to
we love
tell you
it,
where we are right now.
And thank you so much, Lord Hosk. Jesus Fernandez has the next one. Thank you. Do you guys think the tone of the season is different from the previous? I feel like now is more on par to Clone Wars than a space western. I don't think that's bad, but it needs some getting used to. Yeah, I mean, I think the first season of Mandalorian, they had a very clear goal of setting up just the tone of who the Mandalorian is. It feels like a space western. He's kind of like this unpredictable mystery guy who's really good at his job. And now look at him. He's terrible with everything.
He's just awful.
No, I'm kidding.
He's just walking to the bottom of a bottomless pit in an ocean.
He had to get saved twice today, but no.
I don't think you're wrong. I think that's kind of the hilarious thing about Din is that sometimes he is amazing. Sometimes he's popping behind asteroids and dogfighting and shooting pirates out of the sky. And sometimes his strategy is just like, I'm going to get shot a lot and see what happens. Like that's kind of always been his thing. Mm-hmm. But I love him for it. I mean, it's a very Indiana Jones-esque quality of like, you're rooting for the guy because he does fail often. And that's even though I don't want him to be so gung-ho about all his religious stuff. When he got to the living waters, I was like, good for you. Like I was begrudgingly happy for him.
Yeah. And you know what? Bo-Katan, just by reading her face, I feel like Bo-Katan had that same thought.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he was going in there, she looked like she was a little bit inspired by his dedication. And how can you not be? But then he immediately gets sucked under and you're like, oh God.
I guess I'll go save him. He took his jetpack off, the moron.
Yeah. But I do agree, like the tones are very different in all the seasons. And I think that's because we're emotionally, we're kind of growing with Din and Grogu, I guess, and Bo-Katan. Like all the characters are kind of growing together through the different seasons. And we're trying to figure out what Din actually wants.
The tone didn't feel like it changed to me so much as the structure did, which I liked. I liked that a lot. Just that I thought we were going to spend more time getting to Mandalore. So the pacing felt different to me.
I wonder if that's
the structure of the episode, but that's it.
I do wonder if that's just your critical brain trying to figure out what each episode is going to be before they come out.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have those expectations. Well, I think that this series has trained us to expect that. Like, I remember in season 2, we do all the stuff with Cobb Vanth,
Sorry, I gotta
and
stand.
it's okay. that we do all the stuff with Cobb Vanth, and then he's gonna go with Frog Lady to find more Mandalorians, and oh nope, they crash landed on a snow planet, and you're like, it just felt like they would keep on throwing an extra episode in. That was still a fun episode, but you'd be like, okay, we're not gonna immediately jump to our next thing. Bo-Katan said, go to the planet Corvus and meet Ahsoka. And we're like, oh my God, we're going to see Ahsoka next episode. Nope. He's going to go back to Navarre to fix his ship, which is understandable. And it was still a fun episode. But it just had me expecting, okay, this is going to be the side quest episode. And I'm thrilled it wasn't.
Yeah.
I also just wanted to bring this up because I thought it was funny. This is the live stream that never ends. More wine, more beer with all your friends. And it goes on and on. I don't remember the rest of that song, but I used to love Lamb Chop.
At this point, I should just go cook dinner, let you answer some questions, and then this becomes a mukbang.
Maybe. We might get to that point.
But until then...
Don Lied Dude, thank you for the next super chat. The way that Grogu reacted to Bo-Katan and her interactions with Din has me thinking our little green Bambino ships Dinbo. Our little green Bambino. How do you feel about that nickname, Molly?
A little green Bambino. I kind of like that.
I thought that was Babe Ruth's nickname. Is that true? I'm not a sports guy.
The Great Bambino. Yeah, but I think that's because his name is Babe.
Oh.
Haven't you seen Sandlot?
I didn't. Yes, that's why I knew that. I didn't know Bambino meant baby. I just looked that up.
Well, now you know.
I learned something new today about the real world.
About sports and about languages. I don't know that Grogu ships Denbo, but if he does, that's okay. I'll forgive him.
I like Liz has the next one. Thank you. Says Bo is a lesbian.
I feel like that should have the clap emoji.
Yeah,
a lesbian.
Lesbian.
I mean, I can't say no to that because she gets shit done and she does it all very well. So if I've learned anything from TikTok, if you want anything to get done well, you hire a lesbian.
I can't argue with that. And I also don't think there's anything anywhere that would suggest the contrary. Like, there's nothing that confirms it or says definitely the opposite. So,
I mean, anytime I feel attracted to like a powerful female character in TV or movies, I'm always just assuming they're bi. That they're just gonna like choose whatever they want because they're that powerful.
In Star Wars, I feel like it's safe to assume just everyone is beyond all of that.
Yeah,
just
they've transcended
pansexuality. Why not? That should be the default.
Yeah. I agree. Like it could be a default, but like I do think now I'm getting sidetracked, but like I do like when Star Wars is very deliberate in addressing characters' sexualities, but
yeah, well, yeah,
it doesn't necessarily have to be the case.
It's a thing that they should do. Like, to me, I'm just going to say, unless otherwise stated, I'm going to assume pan. But I do think that also Star Wars, because it has such a big audience, the creators want to make a point of bringing greater representation in.
Yeah.
And so not just being like, this is the default, the end, and we never have to address it again. Yeah, I think it's better that they don't do that specifically, but
yeah. There's room for all kinds of love in Star Wars. Unlike the real world, gosh. Get it
Yeah,
together,
apparently.
politicians.
and the rest of the world. But
Real quick, I saw it in the chat. I wasn't going to scroll all the way down to it because I'll lose my place, but Recovery Hacker became a member of the Biggs Mega Fans.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I loved your lamb chops reference.
Yeah, we are still working on getting new custom emojis for our Biggs Mega Fans, so keep an eye out for those. Ice, thank you for the super chat. Fantastic episode. I think it really complemented the first one. Agreed. It was an absolute blast. Great laughs, great action, and plenty of jaw-dropping moments. Hats off to Rachel Morrison for directing. Oh yeah, we didn't even look up.
Honestly, yeah, like I
all the
saw
real
the
world
director.
people
I
that
did
worked on
not
this.
recognize her. Oh, interesting. Cinematographer for Black Panther. And Dope,
Ooh.
who, oh my God, I think was directed by Rick Famuyiwa. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. So that makes sense. Cool.
Because, okay, yeah, there was a lot of great action in, is it the first Black Panther or second? Or both?
Both of them?
Oh, okay.
But you haven't seen the second one, so.
No, I have not. But great action sequences in the first one, so that makes sense.
So she has been the cinematographer for Ryan Coogler, who directed Black Panther, but also cinematographer for Rick Famuyiwa. So that's cool. I'm happy about that. And I thought she did a great job. I thought the direction on this episode was wonderful. And I remember seeing her name and being like, I don't know that name. I should look it up. And I forgot to. So thank you for the reminder to do that.
Yeah. We should pay more attention to the real people working on these shows that we love so much, doing such a great job.
Yes, I do think that's something that I fail to do a lot, is like we talk about Star Wars and the themes and the characters, and I'm like, but also all these people worked really hard to make the show.
Yeah, that's true.
And I forget to bring that up.
Quickly, I saw Star Orange 36 in the chat say, so many first super chats today. That's a fun thing that YouTube does now. It shows if someone's super chat is the first one ever on like our channel. And we have had quite a few of those. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you guys will stick around, even though you might be here for our deranged post 2.5 hour mark remarks.
I'm at the point where I need to take another restroom break, so
okay,
I'm gonna run do that.
All right, then I won't bring this one up yet, or maybe I will. I'll go ahead and get it started.
I'll be back soon.
Okay. From Darth Nicholas, thank you so much. Do you think the helmet Din stumbled upon that resulted in his being booby-trapped by the cyborg belonged to someone significant, i.e. Tar Vizsla? Could the cyborg have had Tar's eye? That would be crazy if that were the case, but I think, I don't know, for me, it just kind of looked like a generic Mandalorian helmet that maybe it had been there for so long, the paint, whatever the paint scheme on it was, had like worn off. And there was actually like a big pile of helmets there around the little cyborg guy's like science area. I don't know what he calls that, but like that little cage that he had Din in, that he was like hooking him up to weird things. There was like a pile of helmets there. And so that tells me that like anyone who may have tried to go to Mandalore to explore and see if there was anything left to salvage may have fallen to this crazy cyborg spider droid thing and looked like maybe it had taken out quite a few Mandalorians, which is sad. But because I know Tar Vizsla's helmet was a little bit more special looking than that, I think. But it would be fascinating for sure. Like if it was booby trapped there for a reason, and it had Tar Vizsla's eye, that would be crazy if that were the case. But interesting, fun to think about. There's always stuff like this in Star Wars where I'm like, I don't know if they're actually going to tell us what it is, what it means, because part of me is like, they want us to like sit here and wonder like, what could it be? And part of me is like, they just want us to be entertained by like a weird, creepy cyborg thing. I don't know. But I do like that idea. I will ask Alex when he gets back. But Brandy Tan, thanks for the next super chat. Would it be too much to ask to see hundreds of Mandalorians to appear for a major battle scene?
No.
Would that be too much to ask?
Nah.
I don't think so. Like, they've done that in movies and TV shows. We can do it in this. Disney has the money.
I think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Quickly, I will bring this up to see your thoughts on it.
Do you think the helmet Den stumbled upon that resulted in his... I almost read that it resulted in his booby being trapped by the cyborg belonged to someone significant?
I hate it when that happens.
Could the cyborg have had Tar's eye? I just think it was a helmet for now. Yeah. I didn't place any extra significance on that specific helmet.
I brought up the pile of helmets that were maybe like all of its victims. So yeah, it could be anybody's helmet.
Yeah, I think a lot of Mandalorians have been trapped there.
Mm-hmm. And then, okay, we covered this one. I don't think that's too much to ask, honestly. Like, we've seen a bunch in the trailers, and with CGI, they can show us hundreds, if there are hundreds. I'll bring this one up for you to read.
Thank you, Darth Nicholas, for another one. The Mythosaur is one of my favorite examples of fans latching onto something in Star Wars that most might find meaningless initially, then making something fantastic out of it and giving a sense of depth to the Star Wars galaxy. Yeah, I agree. Like the Mythosaur was just a thing that some name someone made up, probably because it sounded mythical, and they were like, and that's what Boba Fett has on his shoulder. Someone was just making something up, and now it's a huge deal.
What's interesting is, I'll try to do this quickly, like the Mythosaur skull symbol always made me think of the Punisher's skull symbol.
Mm-hmm.
And just a skull symbol in general and like what it meant. And I think a lot of people latched onto it because it was like, yeah, Boba Fett's cool. He was a bounty hunter and he was badass. So I'm going to wear things with this symbol on it. But now I'm like, what does it represent though?
Yeah.
Like just the skull of anything or the Mythosaur skull, like at some point it clicked in my head that like this represents violence to me and like control. And it made me not want to buy anything with that symbol on it. But I hope that changes.
Well, I really like that the story has changed from in Legends, it was we adopted this skull as our symbol after we wiped the Mythosaur out. We made them extinct and we conquered them and we took their skull as our symbol. Now it's that Mandalore the Great tamed the beast. And it wasn't about conquering and violence. And maybe Mandalorians forgot that. So I like the new potential meaning, and we'll see what we do with the Mythosaur moving forward. But I get what you're saying, because like I don't remember who created the Punisher, but I know he has been like so critical of people who wear the Punisher flag or like symbol as like a, oh, look at me, I'm a badass. And he's like, no. That's not what I was going for. Or people who think that Rorschach is just like the coolest part of Watchmen. And he's like, Alan Moore's like, that's not the point, y'all.
Yeah. You
You're
gotta
not
dig deeper.
supposed to idolize him. He's a psychopath.
Yeah. And that happens a lot in history with symbols. People just attach other meanings to them, and that just happens.
I mean, Star Wars fans do it. I think it's really fun and cool to say this is the way, even though I do not believe that. Like, I don't think.
Yeah. Well,
I
it's on so much. It's on so much merchandise too. You're like, ooh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I wholeheartedly think that this series, at the end of the day, I hope, is going to say that no, there's not one way. Like, we can all be Mandalorians. We can all, no matter what religion or culture or faction or fandom or whatever we're a part of, let's focus on what unites us and not the little stupid rules that we decide should divide us. That's what I think the message of this show is. But it's still fun to say this is the way.
Yeah.
So like it's hard.
Yeah.
Or I should say it's easy to fall into that little trap.
Yeah. I guess I'm just glad I'm not the only one who had that kind of feeling towards the whole symbol of the mythosaur skull. I've just never been attracted to it because it always was taken by people who only want to see Boba Fett as this like badass murderer. But now that we know more about Boba Fett, I'm like, that's not who he is anymore. And I'm hoping that we get a better story for the mythosaur so that I can attach a better story to the skull.
I think we will. Hope.
Yeah.
Dino Marvin, thank you for the next super chat. Do you think Din will duel the armorer for real?
Maybe once he learns how to actually use the Darksaber, that would be funny if he came back and he's like, guess what? I'm good with this thing now, so try me with your stupid hammer.
I do like the idea. I think this builds off well of what we were just talking about. I like the idea of the armorer becoming more and more of a villain. Because even now, I still think she's pretty cool. But when she first appeared and she's making armor and she's handing out whistling birds and she coins, this is the way for us fans. And we're like, yeah, this is neat. But then the more you see that, you're like, she's kind of a cult leader. Oh, I don't know about this. That we change our perspective on her. I don't know that she wants to fight Din. Like, she seemed genuinely supportive of him having the Darksaber in the Book of Boba Fett. And when she found out he took his helmet off, like, she let him keep it. She could have kicked his ass, I think. But she let him keep the Darksaber. So I don't know what's going on with her. But I do think it's an interesting plot if she becomes the villain.
Super hard to read of what her actual motivations are. At this point, it feels like she just wants to expand her cult of believers and like get Din out of there. He may have the Darksaber, but it doesn't seem like it means that much to her.
Yeah, which is weird. Like, I feel like she could destroy him in a duel right now if she just challenged him the way Paz Vizsla did. But she's not doing that, and I don't know why. So her motivations are interesting.
Maybe she's just waiting to build up a bigger faction behind her to support her.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that actually makes sense. Like, if just Paz Vizsla sees me beat Din, then it doesn't mean as much as if now she's got like 50 Mandalorians with her. And if they all see that she beats Din, yeah.
And that could be a reason why we started off this season showing her bringing in another child or a child, period. Like, they're still bringing more people in.
Yeah.
I like this next super chat from Sweet Feet Pete. Bad Batch was hella serious today. It sure was.
Hella serious. Yeah. I already talked about it, but I think it's funny that Molly was like, I edited our Mando reaction. We were all over the place. And then you edited our Bad Batch reaction. We were just like,
we were like really just into it and
quietly
like
taking it in.
Taking it all in, trying not to really talk over any of the dialogue. It was so good.
Darth Nicholas, thank you for another super chat. Just last week, I preferred this week's The Bad Batch episode to Mando 1. Got to give props to whoever delayed Bad Batch Season 2 since their best episodes are now coinciding with the release of Mando Season 3. You know, I guess there is a potential argument that it's kind of like when networks will strategically release episode like their shows after like the big hits. Like when The Office was on, Parks and Rec would come on after that. And so it would kind of like lead you into another show. People would just leave it on.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
it could be like that.
Sorry, I skipped a super chat. Keep going.
Okay, that's it. I was just saying it could be a potential strategy of saying like, oh, people are already watching Star Wars, so maybe they'll just keep watching Star Wars.
Yeah.
Even if it's animated.
That's true. So I skipped this super chat from Fernando Bush. So sorry. LOL, I keep thinking, how will Grogu's helmet look? I think that deserves a drawing. Ears in or outside? Also, love you both. Is great to have your company live to hear about great Star Wars episodes. What are you doing?
I was going to go get that little mini that we have. Do you have it? Oh, I'm glad I didn't get up then. Yeah, you do have it.
It's so small, I don't know if it'll focus.
It focused.
That's exactly how his helmet will look.
I think ears out makes sense. I like his tiny little pulse rifle.
Yeah. So cute. Who made these?
I can't remember. Someone.
I didn't have this information on the top of my head because I just keep this on my desk, but someone made that custom and sent it to us. And I cherish it. Because, yeah, that is exactly how I imagine if he were to ever get armor, how it would look.
I think it was Big J Customs that made those for us.
That's who I thought. That's the same person who made us those custom Funko Pops.
Yeah.
So check them out. Making good stuff.
Matthew Byron, thank you for the next super chat. Now that we're 2 episodes in, will Din strike a middle ground between the Armorer's cult and the other sects of Mandalore? Is he a reluctant hero or an anti-hero? What about Bo-Katan? I see Din as a reluctant hero right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fact that the Darksaber is heavy for him means reluctant.
Yeah, I think Din is going to continue to try to unite people. Like, so far, as soon as he revealed to the armorer he had taken his helmet off, all he cared about was being forgiven for that. Mm-hmm. So we don't know really what his end goal is other than being forgiven by the armorer, which, like, come on, man.
Right. I don't know. I hope he and Bo-Katan will both be heroes. I hope there's not really a middle ground with the cult. Like, I want him to just be like, hey, believe what you want to believe. Take your helmet off or don't. Follow the Darksaber or don't. We're all Mandalorians. We have to stop fighting one another and focusing on the aspects of our lives that make us different.
Yeah. I like that.
Me too.
Find some common ground. Darth Nicholas, thanks for the next one. This week's Mando episode was definitely an improvement over last week's, and I still thoroughly enjoyed it. With that said, I hope Rachel Morrison returns for season 4. Her direction couldn't be better. I think that's
agree.
a fair point. Yep.
I really liked episode 1, but I liked this episode more.
Yeah. I mean, this one had some pretty big reveals.
It had some bigger reveals for sure, but I also think it was just a better story. I enjoyed it more overall, and I was going to bring it because I saw this. Dave McHugh said that Rachel Morrison trivia, first woman ever to be nominated for a cinematography Oscar for 2017's Mudbound, which I have not seen. She lost to Roger Deakins' Blade Runner 2049. I did see that, but I have not seen Mudbound.
Yeah.
Ice has the next one. Thank you, Ice. I think pretty much everyone was expecting this whole episode to be about getting that part for IG-11, but nope. So excited to see where it goes from here. They could do anything, and I'm so down for it. Totally agree.
Oh man, I clicked out of the window and it lost my place in the live chat. Stand by. That's how behind we are.
Well, I agree. It could go anywhere. I'm excited by just about every aspect of this story and where it might head.
Yeah. I'm excited to go to that droid bar.
Oh yeah, like what's that about? We don't know. We definitely know the pirates are coming back.
What's the deal with the droid bar?
What's the deal with the droid bar?
Perfect.
What do they drink? Is it oil? Okay, stop me from doing this.
Garth McMurray, thanks to the next one. The Alamites were Morlocks from the Time Machine. That's a lot of words that I don't know.
The Time Machine is a book from H.G. Wells, and they are like futuristic monsters. But yeah, they are kind of like the Morlocks. If you never saw the movie by Guy Pearce, don't. It's not good.
Don't?
Not by Guy Pearce, starring Guy Pearce. Not a good movie.
Okay.
That's one of the first movies that I remember seeing and walking out of, and I was like, I think there might be bad movies in this world. For a while as a kid, you just see movies and you're like, what a great movie. I had a fun time. And then you see enough movies and you hit the right age that you watch a movie and you're like, oh my God, I think I saw my first bad movie. That was The Time Machine, starring Guy Pearce for me. I was like, I don't think I liked that. That's weird.
That's weird. Ice with another one here. I'm shook by that ending. A goddamn mythosaur. After watching, I was like, what am I meant to do with the rest of my day now that I've seen that? Yeah, I think we all kind of felt like that. I definitely agree. I think we read this one earlier, but Garth said Grogu's first words will be "not the mama" from
I did read that before.
The Dinosaurs show.
Love that show.
Donnie Rand has the next super chat. I hope we learn more about Bo's parents. My new headcanon is that they were killed by other Mandos, causing Bo and Satine to take radical and opposite stances on what, quote unquote, the way should be.
I think, based off of Jane's previous thoughts, I think that is a very real possibility. And now that we've heard about Bo's father, I would like to see some mention something about Bo's mother.
Yeah. I'm excited to learn more about, if we do learn more about her family in the show.
Yeah. I think there's one you missed from Master Razi.
Oh.
This says the cyborg droid threw the Darksaber on the ground after beating Din. Bo took it from the ground right after beating the droid. Does it mean she is the wielder now, especially after how she used it?
I don't think anyone really cares at this point who is the proper owner.
I think Bo-Katan cares. And I don't think that she considers herself the proper owner.
I mean, she used it just fine.
I know, but I think that I think there's an argument to say that she won it through combat if she wants to think that. But I think in her mind she needs to beat Din. Then she didn't do that. She just picked it up and used it. To me, I'm very much like, just keep it, Bo-Katan. Like Din, it's too heavy for Din. He doesn't want to use it.
Yeah, he admitted to not wanting it, and he, even in this episode, trying to fight with it, he still went for his knife instead a couple of times because he's just like, I might cut myself with this thing again. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. I think that Bo-Katan proved that she is worthy of the magical sword, but she doesn't think she is.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's a fun dynamic, but I'm also like, I want to shake Din for all of his stuff that he wants to do, and I want to shake Bo-Katan and be like, just pick up the sword, keep the sword. Yeah. He offered it to you, keep it.
Did we have more to say for this one?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Darth Nicholas with another super chat. Have you read the KOTOR comic starring Zane Carrick, where Raguls, Raguls infect an entire army of Mandalorian warriors? A fun and pulpy comic, and I can't stop thinking about that now. Yeah, we talked about the Raguls.
I don't think I've read that comic. I've seen images from it. I can picture frames from it from Wikipedia, but I don't think I've read it.
Sorry, I was laughing at the chat doing the emoji. Thank you, Alexander, for the super chat. Just says Patu.
I'll tell Chili C real quick that yes, we do have your super chats in the list, but the first one I see from you was at 8:52, and we're back at 8:09. So we're getting there. I promise. we're trying to work our way through the list.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna stream past 10 o'clock. So if we don't get through all of these, we'll cover them tomorrow.
That is, we're gonna do a live stream tomorrow, more focused on the Bad Batch, but we will be streaming tomorrow. But we're gonna try to cover everything tonight. We can do it. I believe in us.
Ice with the next super chat. Grogu actually did a lot in this episode. I really liked that it's showing he is so much more in control of his abilities now, and seeing him travel with Bo-Katan was also an interesting change of pace. Yes, I talked about it earlier. He was such a brave boy.
I love the moment when the now I can't remember what the time machine monsters were called, but when the Alamite jumps down in front of him and he kind of hunches down and his ears are down, and then he sits up and he pushes him, like he gains his confidence.
Yeah. He was like, wait a second, I have the Force. Get out of here. Love it. Alan Carter with the next one. Listening at the gym is my new routine. Keep it up. That's awesome. If you're listening now, you got one more set in you, bruh.
Yeah. You can do more.
You got more.
I believe in you. I believe in you. Also, but if you've been listening for 3 hours and 20 minutes and you're still working out, maybe rest.
Yeah, take a rest break. Do some stretching.
You deserve it. You deserve it. I'm sure you do.
Garth McMurray, I always export WebMPs as JPEGs to save them.
I know you can do that, but now that Adobe accepts that file, I'm too lazy to do that.
Yeah.
But for a while it did not, and I would have to convert every file to freaking JPEG. It was such a pain.
I just went and found a worse quality version of it and accepted that JPEG.
Gary 24 fan, thank you for the next one. My bet is Satine and Bo-Katan got into knockdown, drag out, hair pulling fights as kids. Yeah, I bet so.
I mean, I'll say it again. They were siblings. So, like, I get it.
I did not have siblings growing up, but I think that makes sense. And I was rewatching some of the scenes between them when Bo-Katan like comes to help Satine get away from Darth Maul in her final arc of the Clone Wars. There's a really cool moment where Satine doesn't know if she can trust Bo-Katan, but then they find some understanding really quick, and it's kind of sweet.
Mm-hmm. Darth Nicholas has the next super chat. What do you think of the idea that Shay Vizsla, last name is spelled differently than canon, from SWTOR stole the Darksaber?
In I don't know, maybe in canon.
Like, would they bring that character in to?
Okay. I get what you're saying now. In the Old Republic cinematics, Shay Vizsla is with Darth Malgus when he attacks the Jedi Temple. Yeah, I can see that. That'd be cool.
Literally, they can bring in any Mandalorian they want at this point.
Why not? Shay was cool.
I like that name.
I will say I have not played the Old Republic. I've only seen the cinematics, but Shay Vizsla is pretty dope in them.
Ice with the next one. I think we all like that scene in Jurassic Park when Grant sees the dinosaurs for the first time when Bo saw the mythosaur. Such a great moment. Yeah, I imagine the scene where he's like trying to get her to turn her head.
Yeah.
And then she's just like mouth open, like, oh my God.
Although Bo seemed more scared than like in awe.
I mean, I would be too.
Yeah,
that
I would
thing
be
was
too.
Huge.
Just saying.
She was probably just shocked.
Yeah.
She was shook. Shooketh. Okay.
Dachshund1321, thank you for the next super chat. Any chance we get a mention of the missing Kryze sibling, Corky's parent? They gave us the Zillo Beast. Yeah, that's probably, now that the Zillo Beast is gone off the list, we know what happened to that cloning project. I think Rada the Hutt is probably next on the most, like, what happened to so-and-so list for me. Corky is a close second.
Mm-hmm.
Of just who is Corky's mother or father that has to be a Kryze. What happened to Corky? I'll lump that in there as well.
Yeah. That's just another mystery that we'll have to wait 84 years to have explained. But we'll see. We shall see. The Dillinger-esque man, thank you for the next super chat. Anyone else get big Starbuck energy from the way Bo announced the living waters? Or was it just me?
Honestly, I get big Starbuck energy from everything that Bo-Katan does because Katie Sackhoff is... It'll be hard for me to ever see her. The wig helps, but when I see Katie Sackhoff, first and foremost, I'm like, Starbuck.
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing. Like, everything Bo-Katan does, I just think of Starbuck. Somewhere in the back of my mind, always, not always. It's almost like the same character. But, like, Katie Sackhoff plays both of those characters so well. I don't know. If you've seen Battlestar enough times like we have, you kind of can't help but think about it because the characters are kind of similar.
They are similar. They're distinct, but Battlestar was just my first Katie Sackhoff experience. And so that's just who I see when I see that face.
Well, I guess I shouldn't say that they're super similar. They're both strong female characters who are leaders and who take charge. So take with that what you will.
There's a lot of mysticism about them as well. Well,
I don't want to. Go watch Battlestar.
Yeah, everyone watch Battlestar. Battlestar's great.
To hold you over until next Wednesday.
Lord Hosk, thank you for the next one. My read was Din didn't get dragged down. He walked too far, fell off a cliff. The pool was built to cover the Mythosaur's cave. The bombing broke in. I think you're right. In my review, I did say that something dragged him down. Part of me didn't want to think that Din was that dumb, but yeah.
He just might
be. Let's be honest. He's done dumber.
Like you said, he loves to just like jump into a fight because he has Beskar and get hit.
He jumps into things head first, for sure. He does not think, he just acts. And sometimes it gets him into trouble and he almost drowns.
Yeah. Good thing he had Bo-Katan there to save him. Darth Nicholas has the next one. I can't get Bo-Katan's theme out of my head. It just kicks so much ass. Oops, I said the S's. We're officially in the after dark hours. It's fine. It was awesome hearing it again after 3 years. I hope the theme will be used throughout season 3. Yes,
Her music is awesome.
I think we can all agree that as soon as that music starts, you just get hyped. Like more hyped than you already were. It's such good music.
It's great.
And it's kind of unique for Star Wars, which I like.
I wanted to jump back. Bakey had one that I saw. Will Din and Bo immediately investigate the mythosaur or leave and come back later? So I think that based off of previous seasons of The Mandalorian, they might go do something else. But I'm hopeful that based off of this most current episode, that they will talk about it immediately.
Yeah. I mean, we've been kind of talking about what Bo-Katan is going to do with this information because Din was presumably knocked out or just not paying attention, didn't see what Bo-Katan saw.
Yeah, I don't think he saw it.
It'll be real interesting if she keeps that information to herself. I hope she doesn't.
Curious. I hope she does not also. I want honesty.
I know. I would be so mad. But I get over it.
Ekleb Rot?
I don't think we read Ices.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, you're right. I think Mandalore from Ice, thank you. I think Mandalore might be the new worst place to get stranded on in the galaxy because you're completely cut off. You can't even send out an SOS. I mean, that's one. Malachor seems like it was another one. Yeah. I think there are lots of planets like that where you're just like, well, hope I don't get stuck here.
That's why Din made it a point to Grogu, but also to the audience that like, oh, all the bombings must have messed up the magnetic field for, I forget what he said, but yeah, you're basically stuck here because nothing works tracking wise, which could potentially lead to Grogu using the Purrgil. I'm just saying. Grogu's gonna pull out a little horn and be like,
"Space whales, a symbol."
Yeah, it could happen.
Ekleb Brat, thank you for the next super chat. Oh, creepy profile picture. Just joined the stream, so I don't know if it's been mentioned, but the alien who kidnapped Din seems like a total nod to Rakshi from Bionicle. It did have some very Lego characteristics to me. I'm not. So Bionicle is a Lego line that I'm not super familiar with. I was not really part of the Lego fandom when it was coming out. That was kind of like I was in college and Bionicle was happening around the same time as the Old Republic. Those are just things that I missed.
We were too busy trying so hard to be good college students, but failing.
I did my best.
Badly.
I didn't. I shouldn't say that. I didn't do my best.
I didn't do my best.
I didn't. I can do better.
We weren't brave boys like Grogu.
Oh, Grogu did his best.
Calm like a bomb, aka 12th Dragon. Thank you for the super chat. Is there a chance that the cyborg was left by the Empire to hunt down any remaining Mandalorians? That would be cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's an interesting thought. I still want to know its origin story.
Yeah.
But I do not dislike that thought.
I could see Palpatine being like, this thing creeps me out, even for me. Put it on Mandalore.
I made this. They made it in Mount Tantus, and I don't like it. Get rid of it.
I don't. That's true. We don't know what kind of weird crap came out of Mount Tantus. That's
Get
one of
it
the
away
weird
from me.
things. Do it.
David Livingston, thank you for the next super chat. I thought the animated short with Boba on a mythosaur was from the Christmas special. If that's not it, what was it from? That is from the holiday special, but that's not a mythosaur.
It's not just me.
It's not a mythosaur. It's a different thing.
I'm glad it's not just me. It's just a big creature, so I get why people could potentially think that. Was that just a dinosaur then? I don't know. It was the 70s. It was a weird time.
It was the 70s.
It's true.
Yeah. I'll find it.
Oh boy. All right. While Alex looks that up, I'm gonna keep going.
I've looked this up before. It's an ichthyodont. Okay.
Okay. I think you need to make a short about it, honestly.
Yeah, just for you.
Just for me.
Molly, it's not a mythosaur. Okay.
For me and for David.
Fine.
I think it has to happen. Sweet Feet Pete, thanks for the next one. The cyborg is Palpatine. That's how he survived.
It's a failed clone of Palpatine. We nailed it.
I mean, who knows how many failed experiments happened there, so I'm not gonna rule it out.
We'll never know.
Oh.
Thanks, Darth Nicholas. Just says, happy belated birthday, Alex. Thank you, Darth Nicholas. Sweet Feet Pete has another one. Thank you. Says, do you think the Empire declared Mandalore a mining disaster? Yep. I mean, they may have mined Beskar there, so that makes sense.
It kind of was a mining disaster, if you want to really generalize it.
We were trying real hard to just mine Beskar out of the surface using fusion bombs, and it went awry.
Mm-hmm.
Mining disaster encompasses a lot of problems.
I think that's hilarious, honestly. Darth Nicholas, thanks for the next one for a generous super chat. Thank you. Speaking of Star Wars, City of Bones. Have you heard of the planet? Oh boy, Spunchina.
Spunchina.
The Wikipedia word. The Wikipedia article on it hadn't.
Oh God.
Hadn't had me laughing that hard since I first learned the name of the genre performed by the Cantina band. Okay.
Would you like me to read this article? It's not very long.
Go ahead.
It was mentioned in, I guess this is a book, Jabba the Hutt Betrayal. No, it's a comic. Okay. The planet Spunchina was a planet in wild space known for its wild orgies. Jabba the Hutt once participated in one of these orgies and survived.
What? This is on Wikipedia?
Yeah. It's specified at the end. Jabba the Hutt participated in an orgy and survived.
What? Okay.
There's that. Now
I
you know
don't
about
know
Spunchina.
I don't know what to do with that, but okay. I choked on my wine a little bit.
We can talk about Spunchina later. We got to keep going.
Okay.
If we're gonna try to be done by 10, we got to keep moving.
Yeah, on the next After Dark stream. Go ahead. I'm still choking.
Thanks, Ice, for the next super chat. Regarding the mythosaur, Kawil is in the afterlife right now, looking at Din, saying, "Go on, I dare you. I have spoken." I like that. Your ancestors rode the mythosaur. Surely this blurg won't be a challenge.
Oh, I love that. Poor Kawil. Hey, we finally got to these.
Yeah. Sorry it took so long, Chili C. And there are 4 that are connected, so I'm just going to read them all.
Okay.
Hey, I have a very long message for you, so I'm going to send it in parts. I made an edit on my channel where I feature you. It's called For the Glory of Luke Skywalker Revamped. Please give it a watch. I would love to know you got to experience. I will watch it. I pulled up your channel when I saw these, so I will give it a watch when we're done with the stream.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for sending these in parts. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sometimes they get cut off. Oh, and then I came across this. I think I read it earlier, but thanks Recovery Hacker again for being a Biggs mega fan. Mark White has the next one.
Oops, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
I love how it isn't just Bo teaching Din. He couldn't ditch the cult. They're changing each other. Bo is forcing change in Din to shed dogma, but Din is teaching Bo that being a Mandalorian still means something, a la Rey/Kylo. Yes, 100%.
I think that puts what I was trying to say in my review better than how I said it.
Yeah.
And what I just said was also poorly worded. But I think that I was trying to say, like, I've been really hard on the Children of the Watch, and I will continue to be really hard on the Children of the Watch because I think they're dogmatically just like clinging to the old ways. But I think that there is a balance between the new ways. There's a balance between believing in nothing and believing way too hard in something. And I think that the Mythosaur might represent that, and that it's like there is a value in symbols and traditions. Laws are a good thing, but you need to be flexible with them. You need to be willing to update them and change them, and you can't just stick to the old ways because that's the way we've always done it. It's like, well, people are wrong all the time, so like be open to changing that.
Yeah.
So yes, I really like the way you worded that.
And they also said in the chat, characters that forge change in when one another are so compelling. Before Sunset, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Yeah.
Yeah, Sunset Trilogy is a great example. But yeah, I really like that they are on opposite sides, where Bo-Katan doesn't believe any of this stuff. But when she sees Din going into the water and he's reciting the creed, she's like, there is some power in this. It doesn't mean to believe in that above all else, but there's value in it.
I didn't see a message for Mr. Thrawn here, but thank you so much for the super chat.
I'll keep an eye out.
I don't even know if they go by Mr. Thrawn.
I'm going to assume it said perhaps.
Oh, just perhaps. Somewhere
in there.
Yeah. Thank you for the super chat, Thrawn. We look forward to your big debut on screen. All right, I have to take another bathroom break.
Yeah, that's fine.
Real quick, but feel free to blow through some of these.
Darth Nicholas, thank you for the next super chat. Do you suppose we could see some Tongs, aka the very first Mandalorians, appear at some point in Mando Season 3? Would you like to see them? I'm not expecting to see them. I did kind of like the theories about the Alamites that maybe they're the Tongs, but I don't think we need that. I like that it's just a creed. We've established that, and that's how it was in Legends as well. And it all came from the Tongs originally. I don't think we have to go that far back. I'll be super cool if that happens. I think it will be neat, but I'm not expecting it. Ice, thank you for the next super chat. Bo-Katan was phenomenal. I loved her scenes with Grogu. Like last week, I detect some self-resentment. Yeah. As an animation fan, I loved the call-outs to Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Kanan, and Ezra, and all that. Those always get me psyched. Yeah, I love a good call-out without being specific about it. It's always fun. Just like, I've fought alongside quite a few Jedi, and we got along great. And it's like, yeah, you have. You did get along with the Jedi, which goes along so well with her saying we all need to set aside our differences. It's like, yeah, apparently the Mandalorians find it easier to set aside their differences with their ancient enemies than they do with one another. They're so concerned with their differences, and they can't get past that. I love it. Hayden Shapiro, thank you for the next super chat. The fact that the Mythosaur appeared in live action and not an animated form makes me insanely giddy. The impressive detail is evident. Yeah, the Mandalorian has been doing this since episode 3. I never thought that I'd get to see a bunch of Mandalorians flying around together with their jetpacks, shooting weapons and stuff, like launching wrist rockets. Way back then, like looking back now, I'm like, what a novel idea. Like it seems odd to be excited about that, considering what we've seen since then. But back then, just on a live action television show, that was such a huge moment. It was so fun. I try not to take it for granted. But yeah, that was great.
I'm back.
Great.
Are we getting insanely giddy about mythosaurs?
I was.
Yeah, we all are.
I have been honestly all day. I'm going to pull up Darth Nicholas's next super chat. Thank you. Is it just me, or does Mandalore's surface look so much like kryptonite?
Ooh, yeah, it kind of does.
I love
it's green,
the surface.
Green glass. It also kind of looks like Kyber, but
yeah,
we know it's not.
I remember when the trailers came out and I was like, I assume that's Mandalore, but why does it look all spiky and rocky? But now thinking about it, I'm like, actually, that's perfect, because it was a desert. It was sand. And then they dropped bombs and they all exploded out, but also just like froze the sand and turned it to glass. Super cool. Love that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. You heard Pippin meowing.
Yeah, I did hear Pippin. Is Pippin saying hi?
He's saying hi.
Is he in your room?
No. I saw him come up the stairs, though. He's probably like, where are you guys? You guys are normally cooking dinner right now, and I'm trying to get snacks.
There's no one to get snacks from.
Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out where we're at. Are we on this one?
Yes. Thank you for another super chat, Darth Nicholas. Do you think there's any way they could bring Finn Shisa to canon in Mando Season 3? He appears in the comic with the first mention of Mandalorians. Yeah, I believe he was one of a Mandalore as well.
Maybe? I mean, like I said before, anyone from anywhere, if they're Mandalorian, there's potential of them bringing them into the show, unless they had really been killed off at this point. But even then, there's still potential.
I think they're going to pull more from animation first, but yeah, Cobb Vanth means anything goes. So I'll never say no. I just doubt it.
Yeah. What's up, Kim Plume? I don't even know if you're still here in the chat, but I'll read it nonetheless. Thanks for the super chat. Soon you're going to need an after show. Well, I don't think we will be the hosts of that one.
We'll let someone else do that.
We have to have dinner at some point.
We'll slap Pippin and Hilo in chairs.
We should. I mean, if we could figure it out and it wouldn't be too much work, I would absolutely have like a Hilo Pippin cam running like 24/7. Mm-hmm. That's a good idea, actually, for our Twitch channel, because we have a friend that did that with their bunnies.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, sorry, I got to think on that.
Danger Leader, thank you for the next super chat. What happened to the other Kryze sibling? Satine and Bo-Katan didn't have kids, so who is Corky's mother? I don't know. But Bo-Katan says that she is the last of her house. Wait, do that again
so I can take a screenshot.
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you didn't need me to say it again.
Thank you.
I think she's probably dead at this point, unfortunately, because Bo-Katan said she was the last remaining member of her house.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. But I don't have high hopes for Corky or his parents, whether it was Bo-Katan's brother or sister.
Yeah. Well, only Dave knows at this point.
I like the next super chat.
Thanks, Darth Nicholas. Where is Corky? Is he safe? Is he all right? Did you mean this one?
No, I actually meant the one after that. For some reason, I skipped reading a line, but
Oh,
also
okay.
this one is funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's dead, though. I think Bo-Katan knows what happened to her family, and she seemed bummed about it.
Yeah. It's certainly possible. But it might be one of those mysteries, that we don't find out ever or for a long time.
They cloned Corky along with the Zillow Beast.
Oh no. We're going to find him abandoned on a crashed ship that he's
Yep.
eaten the whole
A
crew.
giant Corky.
All right.
The next super chat is what made me laugh. Will Danny Trejo, thank you, Alexander. Will Danny Trejo show up to help Din tame the Mythosaur, telling him how they're actually emotional creatures? I hope so. Danny Trejo deserved more than two scenes in the Book of Boba Fett. I was thrilled that he showed up. He was someone I did not know I wanted in Star Wars until he popped up over that hill, and I was like, yes to Danny Trejo.
Mm-hmm. I don't think this will happen, but it would be hilarious if it did. If he were just the creature whisperer.
I'm just the animal guy. Boba Fett's like, hey, I know someone who can help.
Love it. Ice, thank you for the next, I think, couple super chats.
I see 3.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll go ahead and read all those in an order. Her fight with the Darksaber was pure fire, and the crazy thing is that that's the first time we've seen her actually use it. She's one of the most recognized and notable owners, yet we've never seen her use it in battle until now.
That's true.
Oh, my AirPods just died. Hang on. Stand by. Go ahead and talk about it.
I'm trying to. You keep talking, and she can't hear what I'm saying. Yeah, it is weird that we haven't actually seen her use it, but it was such a big deal to have Sabine pass it to her in Star Wars Rebels. And like, we thought she was going to unite Mandalore. And then I guess that kind of fell apart because of the Empire. Not really her fault. I think she blames herself. Ice also says, I hope chapter 19 picks up right where this left off. I want to see the stunned expression on her face, like in the rescue. Din asking, what happened? Did I bathe in the waters while Bo flips her cap? Yeah, that would be very funny. Of Din just like, did I make it? Did I take a bath? And she's like, bitch, we almost got eaten by something.
Can you hear me in this microphone?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm hearing curse words from over there.
I said one.
I'm not approving.
It was just one.
Not on International Women's Day, Alex.
It was Bo-Katan calling Din a bitch.
Okay, that's
Is that all right? Okay.
I did miss a lot of that though.
Okay, I said that he wants the next episode to start where 18 left off, and basically Din being like, what happened? Did I bathe in the waters? While Bo is freaking out.
Yeah. She's like, you have no idea what this means.
Yeah. And then Ice's last super chat says, again, I'm just so happy Katie Sackhoff has been up to the main cast this season. I'm loving everything with her character so far. Have a good night. Thank you, Ice. And I agree. I'm thrilled to have Katie Sackhoff as a main cast member.
Same. I feel like she's such an underrated actor. Ugh. I want her in more stuff.
It's just, yeah, we've just been fans since Battlestar, which was in when did we start watching that? 2008 or so. It was near the end of its run when we got into it.
I think, yeah, 08, 09, maybe 09 was when I moved.
Somewhere around that.
It was when I moved in with you, I think.
We caught up with the show for like its last 4 episodes. I remember catching up and being mad that we had to wait weeks to finish the series. But yeah, she's the best. And also, like, she's our best friend. We got to hang out with her on stream for a couple hours, and she's just wonderful.
I just hope that if we ever get to meet her again, that she maybe remembers us. I don't know. It's okay if she doesn't.
I think
She
she'll
doesn't
remember
like-
the event. I think she'll remember the stream. And that's enough.
It's okay if she doesn't. I won't cry. I'm a strong boy. Bill Rudd, thank you for the next super chat. Y'all deserve a big old bowl of pog soup.
Poggers.
I don't know what that means.
Me neither. I think it means cool, Mima. Poggers means good.
Huh?
I don't know. I'm 36. You're only 35.
You're right. I'm still in my mid 30s and not
Yeah,
my late 30s.
I'm not in my late 30s. How dare you?
This just reminded me that Jill posted a bunch of Instagram stories of her cooking the loaded baked potato soup last night, and I was like, God, that looks good.
Did it look pog?
It looked poggers. Yeah, whatever that means.
I hope
Sure.
it means good.
I do too.
Joel Ramirez, thank you for the next super chat. Glad you guys are still here. I just finished the Bad Batch episode. Oh my god, we are truly living in an amazing era of Star Wars. This episode with Crosshair broke me. Fantastic episode of the Bad Batch, which we will be talking about all tomorrow. Not with a guest or anything, just while we build our Razor Crest. But yeah, really, really good episode of the Bad Batch this week.
So good.
Two really solid episodes in a row.
Sorry, I'm just looking at everyone in chat complimenting us for not looking as old as we are. I can't help it. Thanks, everyone. Ever since I've had to be on camera a lot more, I'm like, okay, sunscreen every day. Get it done. I can't age anymore.
Well, you're not. You haven't aged a day.
The Hippie Jedi had their first super chat on the channel. Thank you so much. I ship Din and Cobb Vanth. As do we.
I don't. I ship me and Cobb Vanth.
Oh.
Din better stay away.
Din better step off.
No, that's fine too. If he can't be with me, he can be with Din.
That's a good compromise.
I just want them both to be happy.
Yeah. Ken Plume, super chat for the Star Wars Explained Super Pets After Show. Look, if we had like a
I'll
studio,
see if I can wrangle Pippin for the last minute of the episode.
Jeez, if we had a studio, not just our house, and like we had some help, I would absolutely set up a little camera. And you know what? It's not impossible to do because there's a spot downstairs that Pippin almost always sleeps for most of the day in. So like I could just put a camera down there and point it at him and put that live on Twitch. I don't know. Hilo kind of moves around all day. He follows us around. So I think that caught us up on super chats. I did want to bring this up. As a fellow mid-30 something, I'm proud of the usage of poggers in this stream. I think it means play the game, and it's a good thing. Hell yeah. You found him. Pin.
Play of the game makes sense. I like that.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, look at him. He's so happy you got him.
He's my little man.
He's your little man. So brave.
We did it. It's 9:58.
We did it.
Ow.
He's like, I love you with all my claws.
Stab.
Well, that's going to do it for us, folks. We're going to go make some dinner, some 10 o'clock p.m. dinner.
Little 10 o'clock dinner.
And probably stay up a while just watching silly stuff to decompress. And Alex is gonna cuddle with the little kitten. Oh, he looked right at the camera. Oh, hi,
Look at
Pippin.
you.
Sorry, I get so excited. Okay. Anyways, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you for anyone who stayed for the whole stream. Let us know in the chat if you were here for the whole 3 hours
Honestly, yeah.
and 54 minutes, because I would love to know. But this was amazing. Thank you for everyone who sent in super chats. We absolutely could not do what we do without you guys. It means the world to us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. MC Lego Boy, Marmar Bun Bun, Gio Flores, Dino Park Dan.
I'll take a 90% from Mr. Shu.
Yeah, Mr. Shu, 90%. Yeah, I'm so thankful for you all. Even if you didn't stay the whole time, because honestly, like, I get it. We all have stuff to do.
Yeah. 4 hours is a lot.
It's a lot. But oh, look at Pippin. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll be streaming tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern talking about Bad Batch. So tune in for that. But until then, that's it for us. Do you need me to sign off? Are you busy? Or your hands
My
tied?
hands are full.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Pippin says bye.
Oh, Pippin says bye.